Hello and welcome to high school football on Spanish Fork 17. I'm Chris Hurst along with Mark Mason, and we got a pretty exciting matchup here. As what some would say, it's the Battle of the Fork, as we got the Spanish Fork Dons as your home team, and also our home team of Maple Mountain Golden Eagles that made the short drive down the center street essentially to get here. So it should be an exciting game. Like to welcome to the booth, first time here on Spanish Fork, but longtime high school football announcer Mark Mason.
Hey, great to be here. You know, you look at the records of these two teams, Chris, and clearly Spanish Fork has the better record at 5-2, Maple Mountain 1-7. But you look across, you know, the scorers, they both average roughly about 16 points a game. Spanish Fork doing it a lot on the defensive side to win. And ironically, last week, both of the teams had their highest offensive performances. You know, Spanish Fork against Wasatch, and then, you know, Maple Mountain was there against Springville. And against Springville, they had the second highest point total of any opponent Springville's faced this season. So offense is coming alive for both teams. We expect to see, you know, throw the records out when it's a game like this, a rivalry game.
Yeah, for sure. And I think for Spanish Fork, they've relied a lot on Joshua Buck. Number 4, he's got 906 yards rushing, top 10 in the state. Obviously, the number 1 in the state's been Tavita Valetti out of Springville. But for Maple Mountain, they've really struggled to have an offensive identity. So it'll be interesting to see if they can figure out. I think they're going to go with Sawyer Leifson tonight. So.
Yeah, yep. You watch on the Maple Mountain side, Jackson Denton, he's a dual threat. He can run and he can catch. And, you know, it's after the catch what's good for him, and he's averaging over 11 yards a catch when they can get him the ball. And that really comes down to in the trenches. Can they give him enough time to get the ball out and find Jackson out in open space where he can create?
Yeah, for sure, and we got our keys to the game, and I think whoever can control the line of scrimmage has a big advantage. Spanish Fork's obviously going to try and run the ball. I think Maple Mountain a little underwhelming sometimes on offense. They might need a little help by creating some turnovers, so we'll have to watch and see how this game plays out.
And you saw that last week against Springville for Maple Mountain. They had that kind of magical stretch right before halftime. They got things started clicking offensively. They gave their quarterback enough time to get the ball out. Scored 2 quick touchdowns in, you know, just under 2 minutes. And when it starts clicking for Maple, it works really well. And that's going to be the key for them. Can they get some pressure, create some turnovers, get some extra chances with the football?
All right, and we're about ready to kick off here. It looks like Gomez is lining up to kick it off for Maple Mountain. Back deep, I believe, is Vest. And I think that's Ross back there, but just turned sideways. Yeah, we got Andrew Ross back there. So it should be an exciting game here on Spanish Fork 17. We're excited to have you. Tell your friends we're on. Invite them. Send them the link if you're watching us online.
Yeah, you can catch us at youtube.com/Spanish Fork 17, and we're underway.
Yeah, Ross takes it up the left, looking for a
Ooh, he's got blockers.
He's got the edge there, and he's cuts back inside here. Great return, great field position for Spanish Fork to start it off.
Yeah, and he runs it all the way back to the 42-yard line. And with the patience, he's letting those blocks set up. He might have been better served to just burst up that, take that burst, because he allowed Maple Mountain to catch up to him. But what a run back to the 42.
Apologies. It's Tenny Worthen on the return there. Check that. And Spanish Fork's going to go single back here. Trips to the far side of your screen, and we'll have to see how Maple Mountain counters this as darts in at quarterback. Oh, just on cue, they hand it off to Joshua Buck, and Maple Mountain, pretty good job of stopping that run as they limit that to a 2 or 3 yard gain there.
Yeah, and you see there Josh Biesinger is one of the first ones there, and he's one to watch on that defensive side. 48 tackles. He leads the team for Maple Mountain. A presence they want to identify, and they ran right at him, and he was first one of the ball.
Yeah, Biesinger from his middle linebacker position snuffed that one out. Spanish Fork looks like they're going to line up here in the pistol formation. And they got a tight end kind of lined up in the fullback, and they'll hand it off again to Buck, and he's able to burst up the middle. Gets that first down. I think they're going to give it to him, so great run by Buck there.
Yeah, look, it has that RPO look, but I don't think anyone's fooled. Spanish Fork is going to run it right up the gut. You know, they might pull it a few times later, but right now they're just trying to establish right in the trenches, us against you, and we're going to come right at the gut of your defense.
And great point, Mark, is Spanish Fork's just, they're fine giving Joshua Buck the ball 40 times here. And so Spanish Fork lines up similar formation. Imagine they'll put it in the hands of Dart. Dart's looking downfield. He's got a man open, little underthrown that time, looking for number 11, Cy Munga, and that's incomplete, out of bounds.
Yeah, plenty of time to throw, but it was good coverage down the field. He puts a ball up and he throws it to the outside edge, so the only person that has a chance to catch the ball is his receiver. It's kind of one of those low-risk throws, but he was late with the ball. He had him open earlier.
And Coach Smith here at Spanish Fork coaches quarterbacks pretty much for a living, so he's probably got Dart coached up on where you should throw that ball and when it's appropriate. So 2nd and 10, Maple Mountain with the stop there on 1st down. Spanish Fork lining up with that tight end in the backfield formation. Sends a man in motion. They'll fake it again.
Going to do that screen, and boy.
Oh, great tackle there by number 28. That's Gavin Corey.
Gavin Corey, the senior, lists him as a defensive back, 185 pounds, but he was quick to snuff that out. They let everyone through, and that's when the defensive back has to make that open field tackle.
Yeah, absolutely, and that brings up a 3rd and 14, 13 here. So imagine this is probably in the spot where it might be 4-down territory, but I would imagine they're going to let Dart throw it downfield, and he's got trips here to the near side of your screen. Spanish Fork looking to throw.
Got a little bit of room to run, decides to throw it, and he gets the 1st down.
And I believe that's Cy Munga with the catch on the outside there, number 11 for Spanish Fork. Just ran a little out route, and just Dart did a good job of buying time.
Yep, they're both running across the field, and Dart's running to his right where he's naturally right-handed. See Cy break free. Cy, one of the seniors here tonight for Spanish Fork on senior night, and moves the chains.
Yeah, great pickup, great 3rd down conversion. Spanish Fork probably will run it here on 1st down. They hand it up the middle to Buck. He busts off the left side. Great blocking downfield, and he's still on his feet, and he gets inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, and it's Ty Bono with the big block on the outside edge. You'll see it here on the replay. He's going to bounce at the outside, and watch this seal block right there by Bono, and that's what gets him the 1st down and more.
And Ty Bono, that was close to blocking the back. He just did enough not to get the penalty yet to provide that block for Joshua Buck, as we saw in our instant replay. Spanish Fork lines up 3 wide. They'll pass quickly outside of, I think that's Tenny Worthen with the catch. He gets upfield, gets about 8 yards.
Yeah, and Worthen with a nice catch. It's kind of a outside screen, just get the ball to their playmaker in space, and he picks up 8, makes it easy. They can get a 1st down without scoring here.
Well, this might be an opportunity to roll out and let Dart throw it into the end zone, knowing that you probably have a high probability of picking it up on 3rd down with Joshua Buck, or at least getting close to that 1st down mark.
And they're on that left hash, which plays to Dart's strengths, rolling to his right. So watch for that.
Yeah, so Spanish Fork, shotgun formation once again, sends Worthen in motion. Dart does. Fakes, gives it.
It's a handoff to Worthen. Yep.
And he's in, no problem. 6 points for Spanish Fork. They take an early 6-0 lead here with 8:26 to go.
And, you know, it's no surprise what Spanish Fork did. They came out, they established the run game. And interesting that they did a motion on the short side of the field. So they bring Worthen in motion. They're on that left hash. And it is a handoff right when he gets there. And, an excellent block to spring him by Josh Buck.
Spanish Fork lines up like they're going to go for 2. Instead, Carter Jones, the kicker, will get in the kicking formation, if you will. The kick is up, and it looks good, and the officials claim it's good. So Spanish Fork does exactly what they need. They score 7 points. They run off 3 minutes and about 34 seconds off the clock.
Well, time for Maple Mountain to answer here. Spanish Fork on senior night makes it kind of look easy. Now, they did have a 3rd and 13.
That was a big pickup from Dart to Tenny Worthen, Mark. You're right.
Yeah, and poised by their quarterback and Worthen, pick up that first down, and then just on the ground from there. Want to thank our sponsors tonight, Lance Wilson, State Farm, Two Jacks Pizza, Triple T. We'll bring the keys to the game. Clegg's Auto, Mikkel Thompson Hunter, attorney at law, and MVP Sports.
I'd like to thank these sponsors. Also, you can stream this on Spanish Fork 17's YouTube channel. Just search Spanish Fork 17, and next week we'll be at Woods Cross High School, where the Dons will be traveling up, and that's a top 10 RPI matchup there. Top 8 teams get a bye, so that's a big matchup as Carter Jones kicks it off. Looks like it's in the direction of Denton, who just dives on it to prevent the onside kick on field. So Jackson Denton unable to get a return on there. Great kick by Carter Jones.
Yeah, and the way he just got that ball to stop, obviously, Bona's thinking, hey, that thing's going to roll to me. And then it stops dead, and he did the right play. People are running down. Don't try to scoop it where you might not be able to pick it up, cause mayhem. He just falls on the ball, and they're going to start here. Excuse me, and I said Bona. Now I've got myself all mixed up, but it was Jackson Denton that covered the ball. So starting here on their 14-yard line.
Yeah, Leifson in the shotgun formation. Quick snap, quick throw, strike downfield, catches the tight end on that route, and that's number 22, Kavika Breenhurst with the catch, and Maple Mountain gets 8.
And Kavika Breenhurst is a tank, 6'2", 205 pounds as a tight end. He could create a matchup problem all night for the Dons.
And Maple Mountain over the years has really utilized that tight end very efficiently, so continuing that trend. And I don't think Maple Mountain's 1-7 record really reflects the talent of this team. They've played a hard schedule as Denton goes in motion, and apparently somebody couldn't hold their water on that offensive line. We're going to have a 5-yard penalty here.
Yep, just got a little antsy.
And that happens here and that really negates a big gain. And
yeah, instead of second and short, it's now second and long, and it really puts pressure on this second down play. You don't want to get yourself in a position in Maple Mountain always having to pick up 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. That makes it really hard to get those first downs and move the chains.
And penalties have been a killer. We've seen that kill drives all season long. And Leifson sets up the screen there, and it goes incomplete there. That time I think they were looking for number 27 for Maple Mountain. That is Nick Hoffines, who's unable to come up with it. And now that brings up the 3rd and 8 you were just talking about, Mark.
Yeah, it's a continual problem here, and what they need to do is manage these early downs, avoid those penalties. But when they have time and when the passing game works, they do average over 10 yards a play. So clearly this is a passing down. They're going to have 4 out and have 1 back to help block. Spanish Fork's going to show blitz right here, and they're going to bring 6.
Yeah, Leifson gets it out early. He had a couple of receivers downfield and overthrows that time. Number 2, Jackson Denton. So that'll bring up 4th in a punting situation. I think that'll bring back out Sam Gomez for Maple Mountain.
And if he had a half second longer, he had both Jackson and Justin Jacobson open. And he threw it out there, just didn't have enough time to make an accurate throw. So.
And Spanish Fork brought the heat. It was not picked up well, and so Leifson smartly throws it downfield. It's just too bad he didn't have another half a click, or that could have been going for 6. So instead we got Gomez lined up to punt here. Back deep for his Vest and Worthen. Vest will fill this one and immediately get hit. Breaks the tackle. He's down the left side. He's got room to run. He's going to go all
He's got the
way.
kicker to
He's
beat.
got the kicker to beat, and he gets down to the 2. Looked like he might have fumbled, but able to hang onto the ball. Spanish Fork with great field position.
We're going to watch this, and if the first guy gets him, it's over. But the first guy misses, and then Spanish Fork has the edge sealed all the way. And as he cuts back in, he has the punter to beat. And right there at the 10-yard line, punter does just enough. And you're right, there was a bobble, and he was able to pick it up. But down to the 2-yard line. Yes. That's 2 yards short of eternal glory right there, huh?
And Silva really pushed his defender in to make that tackle, and Gomez cleans it up. But Vest looking like he was going to get 6 instead. He's the backup running back. They should have put him in to finish this off, but instead they line up in the backfield.
Well, they go heavy here.
Yeah, I can't see that.
And they're going to get a false start of their own. But what they lined up there is had Clay. Oh, you're going to mess me up on this one. Fulai. He's a senior, 230 pounds, and they're just saying, "We're running. Can you stop us?" When they bring out that heavy package. So.
And it didn't look like Buck was in the backfield either.
No, I didn't see who the runner was, but again, they had the senior Clay. Oh boy,
Filiai.
Yeah, there you go. Parents, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we love Clay. He's done a great job both on offense and defense. He's filling in for Tubby Rapena, who's out this week at a funeral, who's usually the fullback, and so Dart lines up in the I formation, and we got another penalty here, and I'm still trying to. Okay, it looks like the tackle keeps moving over there on that side. I think the running back's number 40, and that's Trevin Rudd that's lined up in the backfield. So Spanish Fork's going to take a timeout, probably talk to their offensive line here and try and get them settled down.
Yeah, they made it first and goal at the 2 to first and goal at the 12, and not how you envision that drive going after the amazing run back.
Yeah, and it looks like they put in Trevin Rudd, a senior here for Spanish Fork. Hasn't had a whole lot of action, at least at the running back spot. It looks like they wanted to get him in the end zone on this drive, and instead they've moved back 10 yards, and that's first and goal from the 12, 13-yard line. You never want that situation.
So with the timeout here, let's take again a look at the final TV schedule here for Spanish Fork 17 as we wind down the season, heading into the playoffs. You mentioned the game next week. The big game is Spanish Fork Dons at Woods Cross.
Yeah, Maple Mountain will travel up to Mountain Crest. Feel free to go to that game, but we'll be covering the Woods Cross Spanish Fork game, and Woods Cross is a top 10 RPI team as well, so that should be an exciting matchup. And Woods Cross loves to run the triple option. That'll be a tough challenge for the Dons.
Still lining up in the heavy package. Here's the run, and they're going to get the touchdown. And, it would have been easier from the 2-yard line, but Josh Buck with the 12-yard run, and that puts Spanish Fork up 14-0.
Yeah, Joshua Buck just takes that ball right up the middle there, and great blocking. And what a credit to that offensive line and Joshua Buck. He's having a great season, and when he was out against Salem Hills, they really struggled to get this offense going. So this offense literally runs through Joshua Buck, and they'll line up here with number 12, Carter Jones for the PAT, looking to take a 14-0 lead, and the kick is up, and the kick is good.
For Joshua Buck, that's great because he's averaging nearly 6 yards a carry here on the season. If he'd got the ball at the 2-yard line, that would have hurt his season average. So the offensive line was just thinking about their teammate and his.
Yeah, and they were also thinking they wanted Rudd out of the game apparently too, because they lined up with him in the I formation. But the result's the same, and Spanish Fork, not even 5 minutes into this game, have a 14-point lead. So Maple Mountain's got to come up with a first down or two, at least just to give their defense a break.
Yeah, you got the defense on the field a lot. Now, there are a lot of two-way players on both sides, but nevertheless, it's an emotional game, and if you feel like you're just breaking on every play, you've got to get something positive on offense. So.
Yeah, so Carter Jones lines up to kick. I think there's Denton and Fairborn possibly back there.
Can't see his number from where we're sitting right now, but it's going to go. Oh, it does the same thing,
yeah,
but this
time. Denton. He's able to pick it up, breaks one tackle, was not even able to get to the 20. He's down at the 18. Great coverage by Spanish Fork's kickoff unit.
So that little pooch kick, and he's kept it in bounds. He's put it in the corner. It's bouncing once and stopping. I haven't seen that on consecutive kickoffs in my entire career calling high school sports.
Yeah, those have just been great kickoffs by Carter Jones. He's a senior here representing on senior night. They said before the game that his nickname is the kicker, and he's showing us why tonight. So Maple Mountain comes out here. Got to do something on this drive to keep this game close because Spanish Fork's just running all over them. And they'll line up with 2 in the backfield, kind of a shotgun pro set formation. Leifson hands it up to Denton, and Denton is immediately brought down in the backfield. And that is number 42, Easton Kajoma with the tackle.
Easton comes in as a freshman making plays here on senior night.
There's a couple of freshmen that play for Spanish Fork. Kenny also on the defensive line out there right now, or he was a minute ago. So Spanish Fork's it's got a young team, a lot of talent coming back. They do have quite a few seniors that are leaving, but so does every program. So Maple Mountain lines up with 1 in the backfield. They got 2 receivers to your end, and it looks like Leifson's going to probably have to throw this one here, and he gets the throw out, and it hits number 27 right in the hands, who was in an awkward position. Hoffein's not able to come up with it.
Yeah, and Nick's turning, and he's already thinking about yards after catch, and it hits him right in the hands, but he's already turning his shoulders and going upfield, and he's too good to have that happen to him. He'll correct that on the next play, but boy, sometimes you start thinking, I've got a lot of open space here, and you start getting greedy.
Yeah, so that brings up 3rd down and 17 after the big loss on 1st down of 7 yards. So I imagine Spanish Fork looks like they're going to bring 4 or 5 here.
Here comes the blitz, and they bring it from the linebacker, and very close to a safety. And it looks like it might have been Clay Filu.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness, I just messed it up again.
And Alex Coyle, number 33, got in the backfield in a hurry as well.
Yeah.
And so those two really bring the pressure. And Coyle, Fiuli starts it, Coyle finishes it, and Maple Mountain's going to have to punt from their own 2-yard line.
That's tough because you don't have the normal 15 yards of space. So Spanish Fork, they do have 2 returners here, but they might bring the house and attempt to block that kick.
And so Gomez doesn't want to touch his foot on the line. He gets the punt back cleanly and gets a good punt off. And Vest will run up and catch that.
Oh.
This time he's unable to go anywhere as he's corralled by multiple Maple Mountain defenders.
Yeah, and first one in there was Jackson Denton, but looked like he might have bobbled it on the way down.
And Vest, he's a sophomore as well here for Spanish Fork, and he's 2nd leading rusher for this team, if memory serves me correct. And so it's exciting to see him out here performing at such a young age. So Spanish Fork looking to add to that 14-0 lead here. Dart in the backfield as the quarterback alongside him is Vest, and they're going 4 wide here. Maple Mountain not able to put any pressure. Dart has all day, and he ends up finding number 9. That's Gunter with the catch, and he's able to get downfield and near the 20-yard line, picks up a 1st down.
Well, it feels like they're playing 7-on-7 drills out here because Dart just had all the time in the world and waited for Gunter to come across the formation just underneath the linebacker position, and then he just hit him on stride.
Yeah, Maple Mountain brought 4, dropped 7, but if you can't get any pressure, it doesn't matter how many you drop, because on a 7-on-7 drill, the offense is going to win if you give them enough time. So Spanish Fork will go trips to your far side of your screen here. And Dart, all day to throw again, surveys the field. He'll throw it deep. And that's for...
Oh, he just didn't bring it in, but he had him open and running across the field. It was Worthen.
Yeah, Worthen on that flag route there, just unable to come up with it. Great throw, just a tough catch. And Maple Mountain's got to figure out how to manufacture some pressure here on Dart. He's got all day.
Yeah, it becomes a game of the trenches, and if you give the quarterback too much time, all these guys that are playing quarterback are amazing athletes, and so right now they're just giving Jackson Dart too much time to pick you apart.
And so Dart, same formation as the last time. He'll roll out to his left, and still no pressure. He's got all the room in the world to run, and he's going to pick up the 1st down easily and get out of bounds smartly.
Well, I called him Jackson Dart. That's the more famous Dart from Utah. This is Will Dart.
Will Dart.
Yeah.
Brother of Zach Dart. Yeah, and Mark, we'd like to point out that his grandfather's to the left.
Yeah, he's the one that tapped me on the shoulder and let me know my mistake there. So, they're keeping us in line up here in the booth here at Spanish Fork High School. And, Chris, I got to say, this is the jewel of southern Utah County, this field and this stadium.
Yeah, they're turning all these fields into turfs, and really Spanish Fork and I think Salem Hills last year started. Maple Mountain got turf, so really upgrading the facilities. Thanks, Nebo. These are great fields, and quick pass by Dart to the outside. And I think that's Munga that's unable to go anywhere. Great tackle that time by the corner. I didn't catch the number out there, but really good bump and run coverage out on that outside.
Yeah, and they've seen that play before. It's picked up a first down. And this time snuffed it out, a little bit more press coverage instead of giving them 10 yards at the line of scrimmage. And then immediately there when the ball gets there.
Yeah, and to your point, you can press a little bit more once you get inside the red zone. That's why it's a lot tougher to throw it in the red zone than outside. So Dart lines up in the shotgun formation. He'll fake the sweep. He's got plenty of time. Throws that little quick back shoulder pass, and it's a touchdown to Munga.
Yep.
So Dons take a 20-0 lead. Still 4:05 to go here in the first quarter.
And Munga, it was a really beautiful throw, and that's you don't see that very often. The quarterback understanding he's covered, blanket coverage by number 32, Farron Hardy. But what he does, he throws it to the pylon. It's outside shoulder. And, the receiver knows the ball's coming. He's able to react to it and get to it and score the touchdown.
Yes, Carter Jones looking to make it a 21-0 lead here. And so, yeah, it's been all Spanish Fork, and the kick for Carter Jones is up. It looks good, and the officials agree. So 21-0 here, and we're not even 8 minutes into this ball game.
Well, it took Maple Mountain a little bit of a slow start last week against Springville. And, they have the capacity and the ability to do something. But this is kind of one of those critical drives. The game can get away from you really fast if you don't answer with some points on the board here. Especially, 4:05 in the first quarter. Everything's working for the Dons, and now the Eagles have got to do something to answer.
Yeah, and the Eagles haven't even picked up a first down in this game. And I don't even know if they've got to have probably negative 8, 9. Well, they've got more than that because they got sacked on 3rd and 17. So they're in the negative yardage. That's something they're going to have to correct as well. So we got Jones to kick off. We've got Denton back. And I believe that I can't get that first number on the other player for Maple Mountain, but Jones will kick it off and kicks it to the other side here. Picked up, and they'll hand it off to
little bit of
Denton. Yeah, and Denton's got a lane. He breaks a tackle. He's skimming up the field, and he gets it up to the 40.
I like what they did here for Maple Mountain. So 2 consecutive drives that started inside their own 20. And they came with a reverse, which is hard to deal with, especially on that high school level. You see where the ball lands. You're expecting it to come a certain direction. They throw that reverse at you. Not only that, but they gave the ball to their playmaker, Jackson Denton.
Yeah, and Maple Mountain always runs that reverse when they can. That is a trademark of Coach Burton Shaw's special team. So, yeah, and that was a great and C.J. Fairborn, who catches it, had the option, and he handed off. So Maple Mountain looking to get some yardage here. Leifson throws it to Denton, and they get a short minimal pickup of 3 or 4 yards there on first down.
It looks like they're going to give him
that ball was tipped.
Yeah, almost 5 yards tipped, and that's one of the hardest balls to catch after, you're expecting to go a certain direction. So well done by Maple Mountain. So now you've got that 2nd and 5-ish, 2nd and 6. It's really critical down here. Just get some yards so you have a manageable 3rd down. Moving the chains is critical.
And they've got it clear on this hash, so they have that whole far side to operate with as well.
They throw it right at the blitz, and that's a really smart play. The blitz came from that left edge, the corner left, and right there, Leifson just said, you know what? You vacated the area. I'm going to throw the ball right where the blitz came from.
Yeah, Leifson throws it right on stride to Denton there, and Maple Mountain gets their first down, and they're getting on the plus side of the field for the first time as well. So 21-0. Maple Mountain's got to answer here on this drive. So Maple Mountain lining up, shotgun formation. They've got 3 wide. They've kept 2 in the backfield, probably to pick up the blitz here. And Spanish Fork brings the pressure, and nicely played screen there by Spanish Fork, as they've been bringing a lot of pressure, but that play was snuffed out by Coyle.
So Nick's able to get a yard on the play on that design screen, but again, good defense, good defensive awareness by Spanish Fork. So
it looked like they dropped that linebacker Coyle into coverage, and he's been blitzing, and if he would have been blitzing that time, that might have been the right play call, but Spanish Fork didn't bring 6. They only brought 5 that time.
Showing blitz again.
Yeah,
and it looks like
blitz.
They're going to back it off.
And they're bringing the house. Leifson gets it out quickly.
Oh.
And just over the outstretched arms of number 22, Kavika Breenhurst that time. Brings up 3rd and long again.
And sometimes you got to help your quarterback out. And that was a catchable ball. It was tough, but the blitz was coming, so Leifson had to get it out fast, and Breenhurst just turning around wasn't able to get his eyes quite on it.
And Leifson's doing a great job of managing this game. He's not having a whole lot of time, but he's throwing it to the spots where he needs to. I think you mentioned he's throwing it towards the blitz earlier, and he did on that play as well. So that brings up 3rd down, and I imagine Spanish Fork looks like they're going to bring some pressure here. They got bump and run coverage on the side.
Tipped
Ball
again.
Is tipped.
Oof.
It's hard.
Well.
That second tip pass, and it's tough to tip passes like that. They list Leifson at 6'1". It's not like he's a 5'9" quarterback out there throwing it.
So an interesting call to go and bring on the punt team here. I know it's 4th down and long, but they are on the 46-yard line.
I guess maybe hope you can punt it deep.
Yeah,
and maybe there's a turnover and Worthen's back. I don't know.
This is always one of those fake opportunities. So Spanish Fork, I'm sure the coaches are saying, watch for the fake. And it looks like a false start.
And Maple Mountain gets Spanish Fork to jump off sides, I believe, that time.
Oh, did they get them off sides? No, they're signaling for the false start. It was really weird, Chris. People were just kind of slowly standing up like, did they jump or not? And then they called a false start.
False start is called, so that'll move it back 5 yards, and that'll take any decision of making a fake probably out of play, because 14 yards is a long way to go. And so Spanish Fork bringing the pressure here. Maple Mountain gets the ball back to Gomez. He gets it off cleanly, and Worthen will let this one bounce, and it'll bounce down to about the 15-yard line where it's covered, bringing up 1st and 10 for this Don's offense that has had great field position and also been unstoppable at times.
Yes, so the worst field position of the night. So we'll see what happens with Spanish Fork. But so far, they've basically been able to dictate where they're going to go with the ball, and Maple Mountain hasn't had a real defensive answer for it yet.
Yeah, so going 86 yards here, Spanish Fork will have to go. So that gives Maple Mountain's defense a lot more opportunities to get stopped. So Burtenshaw playing the field position game. Dart trots back at it. Quarterback, he's got Buck in the backfield. They've got 3 receivers and 2 kind of like fullback back there, and they'll get it out there to number 2. That is Bona, who has a seam down the edge, and he gets about 30 yards downfield.
Boy,
25.
It's really easy to get down when they don't even make contact for the first 20 yards. Look at the blocking out here. The lead block by Buck, and then he cuts it back in, and they don't even touch him till about the 40-yard line. I mean, that is a runner's dream. What a nice play call on the Spanish Fork side.
Yeah, Bona follows his blockers down the edge, and Spanish Fork's just doing whatever they want for the most part here. Little resistance, and so Spanish Fork lines up shotgun formation. Plenty of time for Dart. He surveys the field, gets what he can, gets out of bounds, but this one's probably coming back for a... So I didn't see what happened that time.
It looked like a hold out there just when the quarterback started to run. Somebody had a hold of a jersey, and I don't know if it would have made a difference on the play or not, but certainly does cost him 10 yards from that spot.
Yeah, 10 yards from the spot, and we'll have to see where the hold was. It's probably a couple of yards in the backfield, and that's what it looks like. So big 12-yard penalty there at time. Brings up 1st and 22. So that probably changes the play calling here for Coach Smith a little bit. Got to avoid those penalties. Spanish Fork shotgun formation. Quick pass this time out to the edge and well covered that time by number 1. That's Quentin Burtonshaw for Maple Mountain, ensuring that the receiver didn't get anywhere.
Yeah, Quentin Burtonshaw, one of the senior captains for Maple Mountain. And he's one of the defensive leaders. Not the leader on the field, but on the season has 34 tackles. And, he's been there a number of years and, really brings that experience. They brought the blitz from that right edge, and he had to make that tackle. If he misses, that one goes for a big gain.
And Spanish Fork's had some big plays, so Burtonshaw preventing one there. Spanish Fork will roll Dart out to the edge here. He's got plenty of time. Makes a great throw down the field to Manga, who's close to a first down. Looks like they're going to give it to him.
And, the route running by Mauga, he put pressure on the defensive back, says, I'm going to go deep. And then he cuts hard right to the sideline and made it really easy for Dart to find him.
So that'll bring up 1st and 10. Big pickup on 2nd and 21 there. That's not an easy down to pick up. You don't have too many plays there, but that offensive line's been protecting Dart at the highest level. So we got 20 seconds here. This might be the last play of the quarter. Dart lining up in the shotgun formation. Plenty of time once again. Keeps it himself. Able to get downfield a few yards and gets out of bounds. So that'll bring up 2nd and about 5.
Gets to about the 40-yard line, and it's going to make it that much harder to deal with when he starts to run. Now what does Maple Mountain have to do? They can't bring too much pressure. They have to have one guy spying the quarterback when he takes off. Otherwise, he's going to get these 7- and 8-yard runs on first down.
And Will Dart is athletic enough to get it. So he'll drop back to pass. A little pressure this time, but great throw across the middle that time. That's to number 7, Gabe Ashworth. The senior on senior night tight end makes a big play across the middle and another first down.
And it's almost a cheat code with Gabe Ashworth running across the middle at 6'3" and 225 pounds. What are you going to do? He weighs as much as the two guys covering him.
Combined. Yeah, so that'll end our first quarter here. The Spanish Fork Dons lead 21-0 over the visiting Maple Mountain Golden Eagles. You're watching high school football on Spanish Fork 17.
If you're looking for a workout, you know MVP Sports is the place to start, and that includes pickleball. MVP Sports has all you need to get active in this growing sport. Paddles, shoes, clothing, and the pickleballs. MVP Sports in Spanish Fork.
The best time to check your furnace is before it fails, and you can rely on Triple T to do the job right. Our technicians are trained every year so you can sleep better at night, knowing your furnace is safe to operate. Call Triple T at 798-7711 to schedule your tune-up today.
Jake from State Farm. I would like to formally extend my gratitude for the Russell rate.
There's no special rate. These prices are for everyone.
Consider us square. I made that from memory.
If you want the real deal, contact State Farm agent Lance Wilson today.
And we're back here on Spanish Fork 17, where the home Spanish Fork Dons are leading the visiting Maple Mountain Golden Eagles 21-0. I'm Chris Hurst. We got Mark Mason alongside filling in for Ryan Pickens tonight, and we're having a great night. So is the Spanish Fork Dons.
The Spanish Fork looks really good, and it's been a rough season offensively. Just not getting it going, and Wasatch was the medicine they needed headed into the playoffs. And now they're clicking on the offensive side. They've got things rolling, and just what they need. Oh, look at this pass.
Oh, Dart finds Ashworth, the tight end, over the middle, and that's 6 more points. We got a 27-0 ball game with the PAT pending, and we've just started this second quarter.
Yeah, and just at the start of the quarter, Ashworth, all he does is run a little seam route, gets behind the defense, and Dart hits him right in the money. And it was right at the back of the end zone, a tough catch in the end. And he came down and he maintained control through the ground. So
Yeah, great throw by Will Dart, great catch, and they're rewarded with 6 points. They'll bring out Carter Jones, the kicker, for the PAT here, and that's a high snap, and they're going to have to pull it here. I think that's number 3, Ryan Olson. That just gets mauled there, and so that'll keep it to 27-0 game. Scoreboard looks like it's missing a few numbers.
yeah, that high snap, and they're taught when this happens. Ryan Olson, he catches it, and immediately he doesn't try to put it down. He's just going to go try to make something happen. But Maple Mountain was all over it, and the rest of the team's not expecting anything to happen, so it just turns into a missed opportunity.
And next week, we'll be at Woods Cross High School, where the Wildcats will be hosting the Spanish Fork Dons, and that's a Wednesday night game. So this one's Thursday. We're working our way to Wednesday, and then after that, we'll look to possibly have some high school playoff action. And Spanish Fork in the RPI is the 7th seed. The top 8 get a bye. So that'll be a critical game, I think, for Spanish Fork to stay in that top 8 to get a bye and then a home game. So
the ever-elusive home game matters so much on the high school level.
Yeah, Woods Cross is 9th in the RPI, so that will be probably the winner of that game, depending on what Woods Cross does this weekend. Will probably get a home or a bye that first week. So Carter Jones set to kick it off, and it's high. Looks like that one's going to be returnable down to the 1-yard line. Denton fakes it to Fairborn. He's got
all the space he's got. And it's too bad. They're going to call a block in the back. Yeah. It's going to bring this one back. But
Carter Jones versus Denton, and no, Denton outruns Carter Jones there at the end, but this one's coming back due to a block in the back, as you mentioned, Mark.
Yeah, and I don't even think that block necessarily mattered. I think he'd already burst through the hole where the flag was thrown. It's the hardest thing to do in high school sports is block on these return coverages without hitting somebody in the back of the pads.
Yeah, wow. Denton, really, that was blocked well, and I think you mentioned earlier the reverse, and they call it a hold there. That reverse really is difficult to defend, and Fairborn and Denton really in sync that time on who should keep it, probably with their eyes downfield on how the lanes are being filled by Spanish Fork, and they make the right decision. Unfortunately, instead of having a 27-6 ball game, it's still 27-0, and with 11:40 to go here, and Maple Mountain has to drive pretty much the length of the field.
And that's a critical hold. That ends up being an 85-yard penalty.
Essentially, and take 6 points off the scoreboard. It's like one of those bad investments I made. It just keeps getting worse and worse every day. Don't check the stock market, my friends. All right, Leifson back in the shotgun formation. Throws it deep. He's got a guy, but overthrows that time Fairborn, who had his guy beat, but just kind of stopped a little bit, and that ball went out of bounds as well.
And Leifson had no chance or choice but to throw right then. He was just about to get hit by the blitz. He felt it coming and released the ball a little earlier than he would have liked to. And that's what led to the incompletion.
Yeah, and Leifson's probably going to be dreaming of Gray all night tonight, because that's all he's seeing. Spanish Fork's defensive line is doing an excellent job of getting to the quarterback, and then when whoever they're blitzing from the linebacker safety spot is following that up as well. So brings up 2nd and 10 here. Leifson in the shotgun formation sends Denton in motion. He'll hand it to Denton. Denton has a seam around the edge and is able to get 4 or 5 there, which is a pretty good pickup.
So they're going to mark him down at the 24-yard line, and they ran away from the blitz. But they brought both backers up the middle in the A and B gaps, and Denton was able to get around it and makes it 3rd and still long, though, Chris.
Yeah, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6 here, and Maple Mountain really hasn't been able to convert. I think they might have converted 1 third down earlier and only have 1 first down. So imagine looks like Spanish Fork's bringing the pressure, so Leifson's going to have to get rid of this quick. And he's able to roll out your near side of the screen, and that ball's it looked like it might have been tipped that time by Ross. Not sure what happened, but it's incomplete nonetheless, and that'll bring out the punting team.
Yeah, Ross comes, and they continue to just bring the house time and time again, and right now Maple Mountain doesn't have an answer for it. But there's got to be some adjustments, some hot routes, some hot reads, something. They know this is where the blitz, the pressure is going to come from, and try to, slip those passes into those empty holes in the defense.
Yeah, so that brings out Sam Gomez. And back to the defensive line, they have done a great job this season of really disrupting teams' passing game. So Maple Mountain's filling that as well. Punt snaps back to Gomez. He gets a clean punt off. Gets a bounce that goes down to about the 50-yard line, and that's where Spanish Fork will start 1st and 10.
And right at the 50, and Spanish Fork rolling right now, 27-0. The only miscue is a high snap. Otherwise, they basically had their way.
Yeah, for sure. And for Spanish Fork, they have been unstoppable. It doesn't matter if they've started at the 2 or if they've started at their own 15. They've been able to march that ball down the field with little resistance. I think they've had a couple of penalties that could have been back-breaking penalties, but they were able to overcome them. So Spanish Fork lines up with Dart, Buck to his left. And they're throwing a little bit more as Dart is throwing. He scrambles. He's got plenty of time. We've got a hold here, and Dart's still going across the middle of the field. And he's scampering inside the 20, down the 15. That'd be a 35-yard run, but I think it's coming back for a hold.
Yep, and it was the most obvious spot, too, right, where the referee is looking, throws it in there. That hold will wipe out a big run by Dart.
And Will Dart, was that a salsa dance he was doing? But he was dancing his way down the field. It wasn't quick, but he was very patient in using blockers to get down there. But instead, it'll probably be 1st and about 25, judging from where they threw that penalty.
And the hold right now with that spot infraction is a killer.
They've overcame one of these holds, and it's only a 14-yard penalty, so it'll be 1st and 24. But still, at the college professional level, you hold, it's only 10 yards. Here in high school, I've seen them where it's been marked way back to somebody tackling somebody behind the quarterback. So
well, yeah, and we've seen Spanish Fork. They have a 3rd and 24 play in their playbook, apparently. So let's see what happens here.
And Will Dart has the ability to run or throw here, so we'll see what they do. And they're going to pitch it off here. The fake pitch, and they'll go deep, well covered downfield is that end receiver, and that looks like that was Tenny Worthen. And
I think it was Farron Hardy on the coverage, and, honestly, I think he was the intended receiver by the look of it. He had good coverage, and there was just no chance on that ball.
Yeah, it looks like we got another hanky on the field there, and Spanish Fork's assuming the position.
It's going to be an illegal man downfield.
And that might have been a run-pass option, and that's usually when – I don't think it was because it was pass all the way with that pitch. But you see a lot of those ineligible receivers downfield on those RPO-type plays.
Yeah, because they're
declining it.
They're going to decline it and force them into a longer down and distance here. So
I always look at the math. You got 2 downs to go essentially 25 yards versus 3 to go 30. So I guess the math's got to average 12.5. So –
what do the metrics guys say, right?
I don't
Analytics.
know.
It's taking over sports.
Yeah. So Spanish Fork allows Dart to throw. He gets it out to Bona. Bona's got a seam. He's got the edge here and brought down from behind before he gets too far, but he's able to still pick up 9 yards there on 2nd and 24.
So that's going to bring up the 3rd and 14, and I think that's what Maple Mountain was looking for. Let's push him into a really long 3rd down. See if we can hold, get the ball back. Almost look like a little bit of a face mask.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Spanish Fork goes quick here. Dart, 3rd and 14, critical down, and Maple Mountain will jump off. It's the offsides, 53 on the edge there. Dabbling just couldn't hold his water that time.
Gabe Rockwood was also guilty of the jump, but I think he might have followed across the line. So
a little bit of peer pressure there.
Yeah. If your friends would jump off a cliff, would you? Apparently the answer is yes.
The answer was always yes until I hit about 27, I think.
Okay.
So
the magic number of maturity for Chris is 27.
Absolutely. So 3rd and 9, and it looks like we got some sort of officials timeout here. I'm not exactly sure what they're discussing with Coach Smith. They're trying to get the clock line back up here.
Trying to say go back to 9. Was it 9:44? Is that the from the Morse code from the sideline? Is that what you could see?
It's more of an art calling up the time than it is a science. So
Yeah.
looks like we got 9:28. They're looking to get it 39 maybe.
Well, this is fun because we're all having a good time trying to determine. Oh, and we decided 9:35 was the number. There we go.
So clock stops with that penalty. 3rd and 9. Dart in the backfield, flanked by Buck. Looks like he's changing the play here. Maple Mountain looks like they're going to probably drop 7 into coverage, which they do. So Dart has plenty of time. He's got Bona wide open on that post route, and Bona's in for 6.
And the lights go out in the stadium. I think it just was that play was so good that it was time to say, we're done here, folks. But they did get the lights back on. So Dart with the 50-yard touchdown pass to Bona. And he got behind the defense. And when you're covering with 7 in the backfield,
You can't let that guy behind you, can you? That's what you're going to say, Mark.
oh, my goodness. You know, and Hardy's had good coverage tonight, so we're not going to pick on him, but it's the one thing you can't do. You can't get caught looking in the backfield to see what's happening. Bona just ran right past him, 50-yard touchdown pass, and Spanish Fork continues to be magical tonight.
Carter Jones finishes the drive off with a PAT. They are able to fix that center to I guess the holder situation and go up 34-0. We've only got 9:13 to go here. This Spanish Fork team, week over week, we've seen them improve. And we'll take a minute here and we'll thank our sponsors. We got McKell Thompson Hunter Attorneys at Law, Clegg Auto, Two Jacks Pizza, MVP Sports, Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, and Lance Wilson State Farm Insurance. We'd like to thank these sponsors for making this broadcast and all of our previous broadcasts possible this season. So go support those guys. They're awesome.
Yeah, you know, we don't get here for free, so make sure you stop by. That's the best way to say thanks to those sponsors. Also, look for tonight's game and all future games at youtube.com/SpanishFork17.
Yeah, that's a great channel. Subscribe to that, my friends. Get those notifications. So Carter Jones will kick it off here, trying to get this one out of the end zone, into the end zone, and he does. That'll prevent a return because the best offense Maple Mountain has had is those kickoff returns.
So talking to Carter Jones before the game, he said his favorite song was Adam Sandler's The Lonesome Kicker.
Man, I'm surprised anybody even knows what that song is, but anymore that in his age demographic, my age demographic, Adam Sandler songs were really popular, which tells us a lot about my generation.
I wonder if we can get that to trend on Google now. Now it's going to be a trending, The Lonesome Kicker, to see if that's a real thing or not here. We'll have to try. We'll have to keep. That's a developing situation. We'll keep you up to date on that as the night
might
progresses.
have been the album cover for one of Adam Sandler's CDs, if I'm remembering right. All right, 1st and 10 here for Maple Mountain. They'll hand it off the middle. I think that's number 27 that gets the carry for Maple Mountain. Is that Hoffines, I believe? I put my roster away. I need to get that back out. Yeah, Nick Hoffines with the carry. He goes backwards, and great tackle by Failea.
Yeah, and it was Britt Nilsson was first there. The 5'11", 210-pound offensive or outside linebacker. Excuse me.
That brings up 2nd and 12. They get the marker set. There's something always bothers me when they don't get the marker, right? But they fix that. 2nd and 12 here. Maple Mountain's offense has really struggled to get going, so they're going to go single quarterback here, and they'll have to get rid of it fast as Spanish Fork brings the pressure. They got a man down the field, and it goes right through the hands of Quinn Burtonshaw. The only thing was going to stop him was tripping over his own feet.
Yeah, sometimes those turf gnomes will get you, but Quinn Burtonshaw, it's a tough catch, Chris. It was an over-the-shoulder catch. He's looking it in, and I think his arms just got a little T-Rex right there.
Oh, and you got to feel for Maple Mountain. They've practiced hard all season long. They're trailing in this rivalry game 34-0. It just seems like they can't catch a break. They get a big play, there's a penalty, or, it's just been a tough night for Maple Mountain.
And we've seen drives stall on missed opportunities. Of course, you had the big kickoff return that was called back. And it's just, you could probably go back in the film and say the difference on a 34-0 game is 5 plays, and that has never been more true than tonight with Maple.
And Leifson has to throw that screen before it's ready to be developed that time. And that'll bring up 4th in a punting situation here for the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, and their only drive that did anything was their third drive. They got into into Spanish Fork territory, and then were undone by penalties and had to punt there. And then we've seen 3 and outs on all the rest of their possessions. And this one is a heartbreaker, though. Quinn Burtonshaw, he was going to run all the way down to Payson.
He was not going to stop. All right, instead Gomez is back to punt for Maple Mountain. Pretty decent punt there, and actually goes a little shorter than I thought it was tracking, but that'll pin Spanish Fork down to the Maple Mountain 45-yard line. And so Spanish Fork's just been winning everything, including the field position game.
Yeah, that's a high, short punt. He didn't get much on that one. When you're deep like that, sometimes you like to drive that ball as hard as you can, but he got a lot of air time. And, the coverage team was right there when it bounced, but not what they were looking for. Now Spanish Fork in business. 8:07 here still in the first half.
And we haven't seen a lot of Joshua Buck, who's flanking Dart in the backfield. So it's 1st and 10 here, and they will hand it off to Buck, and he's stymied, breaks a couple tackles, gets to the edge. Great 1-yard run that time by Buck, because it looked like he was going to lose multiple yards.
Yeah, that's kind of that Barry Sanders thing. It looks like he's hitting the backfield and somehow he bounces out and makes something positive happen. Nothing there, bounces it out to the left, gives a quick stiff arm, and, credit to the Maple Mountain defense. They were on swarm coverage there.
So that brings up 2nd and 8 here, lining up with that fullback in the backfield, Fayuli. Buck is the deep back here, and they'll hand it off to Buck once again. He's got a little bit better blocking.
Oh,
he
fumble.
Fumbles.
And it looks like Maple Mountain's going to recover.
And we'll let him unpile. But, yes, you are right. Maple Mountain will recover that time as Joshua Buck, as we'll see here on the replay, just kind of was bobbling the ball from the beginning and just got that knocked out. That was number 9 that knocks that out for Maple Mountain.
And you're going to see
Silva.
the sophomore Clayson come in, just a heads-up play. Now, they practice this all the time. They'll put a football on the field, and all season long they're practicing that fumble play. And Clayson, the sophomore, comes up with a big play. And here's a chance for Maple Mountain to put some points on the board.
Yeah, so that brings up 1st and 10. First turnover of the game. It's been clean from that aspect. So Maple Mountain and Leifson will try and drive down the field here. 7:24 to go in the first half. Maple Mountain really hasn't even sniffed the end zone yet. So they'll bring Denton in motion, and there's a fumble.
And I think Spanish Fork got this right back. And sure enough, they did. And holding up the ball. Oh, and he's just wiping it clean. It's number 50, Grant Barney. And, when we're...
That's shocking he didn't get a 15-yard penalty.
Let the boys have some fun, right? So they get it right back on the fumble. Grant Barney is one of the leaders here on the defensive side. Also here on senior night, want to recognize him, 6'1", 245 pounds. And on the season, he 2nd in the team in sacks and 1st in the team in tackles. So heck of a player out there.
Now we can add that fumble recovery, and Joshua Buck owes him lunch tomorrow, I believe. All right, Spanish Fork I formation this time, showing a little bit of variety there. Sends a man in motion. They'll hand it to Fayuli up the middle, and he blasts through forward 8-9 yards before he's brought down.
Clay with a really powerful run, and this is a timing run. Everybody knows it's coming quick, and look at him just fight through the tackle and drag for 8 yards.
That brings up 2nd and 2. We'll see if Spanish Fork utilizes that I formation once again or if they spread it out. So haven't seen too much I formation for Spanish Fork. It looks like they've got in a new quarterback. And that looks like that's number 6. I think that's Smith. Is it McKay Smith, the sophomore in there. And they'll hand it off to Buck. Buck finds the edge between the tackle and the tight end there, and he's still on his feet as he's running towards the end zone. We got a looks like it's going to be a hold there by Worthen on the edge, but great run downfield by Buck, and he's been running hard all season long. It's been great seeing him progress as a sophomore all the way to his senior year.
Oh, I don't know about that holding call.
Is it a hold or a block in the back?
He had him by the jersey, and there was a little bit of a jersey hold there, but I'm not sure about that. I mean, the play was basically done by the time the flag came in, but so they're gonna mark it off from the spot of the foul. Is that how they're gonna do it?
So it's still a first down. New set of downs. So instead of at the 3 or 4 yard line, Spanish Fork will have it at the Maple Mountain 17. So McKay Smith once again lining up in the I formation. Feuli and Buck in the backfield. And they'll fake the pitch. We're going
to call this one dead. It's going to be a false start. That's usually what
we're seeing a few new guys in there for Spanish Fork, so I wonder if there are some of these kinks of kids not playing together are starting to show.
Yeah, it's interesting here on senior night that they would pull them this early. Yeah, usually you see this somewhere in that third quarter, but I guess with a 34-0 lead, it's a show of class from the Spanish Fork sideline. But, these guys work so hard all season long. Usually, especially on senior night, you see them get a little bit more playing time. But
it looks like they're playing a little bit more of the seniors, actually, because Will Dart's a junior. They've subbed him out, but they're still keeping Joshua Buck in the backfield. Is Feuli, he's a senior as well, so he's getting a little more playing time on the offense with Rapena out. But yeah, Spanish Fork's really, I think the key word to this game has been dominating, right?
Certainly dominating, and maybe it's also just a look, hey, we've got a really big game next week. It looks like this one's in hand. Let's stay healthy. Also get some repetitions to some guys that haven't seen much action on the varsity side. So,
it's always exciting for those young guys that work hard. They play a lot on the JV team, but to get in the big game is always special, and that's memories they can have all night, or I guess for the rest of their life, and including all night long tonight. But so that brings up 1st and 15 here for McKay Smith and the Dons.
So the rare under center.
They'll pitch it out here to Buck. He's got a lane off the edge. Great blocking downfield. And Buck looking to get to the end zone. Gets out about the 2 yard line. I was wondering if he's going to put his foot in and try and make a push, but instead goes out of bounds.
Another designed run. Lots of downfield blocking. And Buck right there, you think maybe he'll get there, but just pushed out by number 13, Josh Biesinger, one of the captains for Maple Mountain.
Yeah, Biesinger was making sure he was going nowhere if he cuts in, so probably smart move to try and get out of bounds there after the contact. So it brings up 1st and goal, and we got a new running back in the backfield. That's number 40, Rudd, dotting the I, and they'll hand it off to Rudd, and he's able to get about a yard, so that'll bring up 2nd goal from about the 2.
I've got to say, this pink on that gray is a good look.
Breast cancer awareness night here and month, really. So, yeah, great look there for Spanish Fork. And tonight, all the student body is also wearing pink to support breast cancer awareness. That brings up 2nd goal. Once again, Smith lining up in the I formation. Rudd in the backfield dotting it. And they'll give it to Rudd again, and he's got plenty of room to get in, and he rolls in there for his probably first touchdown of his varsity career.
Well, that is a reward that you talked about, somebody having a memory for the rest of their life. You know, they put Rudd back there and said, you know what, young man, you're getting 6, and he took care of business when he got his opportunity.
Right, absolutely. Great run by Rudd. He's able to get in there. Now it's 40-0 with the PAT pending. Once you get up by 35 at the high school level, they'll start the mercy rule, but that won't start until the second half.
Indeed. So 5:34 here still in the second quarter.
And the PAT is up and good by Carter Jones, so it's a 41-0 lead here, and this has gone according to plan for the Spanish Fork Dons.
Well, you kind of knew that something that, last week when they hung up 56 on Wasatch, that the offense had figured it out. And they had a rivalry game coming. All week long they were talking about execute, and the Dons have certainly done that tonight. Very, very few mistakes, very few penalties, and they've been able to dictate, hey, we're going to do this both in the air and on the ground, and right now the offensive line, all credit to them, they're giving time in the passing game, and they are opening up huge lanes on the running game.
Absolutely. So 41-0 is not how I anticipated this first half going, and I imagine Maple Mountain didn't as well. So we'll have to see if they can respond here on their next drive. They've had some opportunities, some missed connections, but really that Spanish Fork defense is just swarming Leifson, and he's having to make quick decisions, and we'll see if they can get it going here.
Well, the lonesome kicker back to kick.
And the kick will go into the end zone and come back out to the 20. So that time that was number 1 back there, Quinn Burtonshaw, and so he's unable to handle it. And I don't know, you got to keep your heels on that 1 yard line to make that catch. I've seen kids jump up, and you spend so much effort jumping up for that ball. It's like, why did you even bother? Because now you're stumbling out of the gates, and that's kind of, I think, what would have happened to Burtonshaw on that play.
Yeah, maybe fortunate, too, that the bounce carried it into the end zone for the touchback. So here on the 20-yard line, let's see what Maple Mountain can do. You thought the bounce went their way. They had the fumble, then turned it right back over. But here on first down, they're able to get, look at this.
Yeah. Leifson gets that out quickly to Denton, and Denton's able to get downfield and get a much-needed first down for this Maple Mountain team. Great pass here. Quick hitch route going on.
And they talk about it all the time. You have to make one man miss, and Denton did that there and extended that play to the 38-yard line. So yards after catch in that case, much more than 10 yards after the initial contact.
So, yeah, great catch and run that time for Denton, and really let's see if that can get some offensive momentum going here for Maple Mountain. Leifson lines up, shotgun formation. He's got 3 receivers. Denton goes in motion. They'll hand it off to Denton. He's got a little bit of the edge there, and he's able to get
still on his feet
7-8 yards before he's finally brought down.
You look at Denton, and he's only 150 pounds at 5'8", and you think he's not a power runner, but he just showed otherwise on that run.
Yeah, sometimes people think it's how you start a run. I think it's how you finish, and he finished strong that time.
So now a manageable down and distance. This is an opportunity for Maple to take a shot. Yeah. And they also are keeping the Spanish Fork honest on this blitz. So, this is what they've needed all night. They show the blitz coming, and
he sets up the screen pass, and Hoffines is fortunately unable to come up with it, or have been a loss, so that'll bring up 3rd and 2. And that was probably a spot where I'd probably try and go play action, freeze those linebackers and defensive line by faking the handoff to Hoffines, but instead it's a screen pass that's incomplete.
Boy, and just the way that Spanish Fork is pinning their ears back and running out to the quarterback, they're just not giving Leifson enough time to develop the plays and get the ball where he needs to get it.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see if they try and run it here with Hoffines or if they try and pick it up in the air. So we'll find out. And they're going to throw it here. Leifson gets it out to Hoffines, who's able to get enough to get that first down unless he stepped out of bounds.
Boy, athletic play by Hoffines. That ball was low, and he had to spin around to catch it, and had the presence to know where the first down marker was and just got it.
So back-to-back first downs here for Maple Mountain, something we haven't said all night. 4:35 to go here in the half. They'd probably like to get this score underneath 35 points so we don't have that running clock. Because once that starts, you have to get down to 21 to stop it. So Maple Mountain lines up 2 wide receivers. They'll hand it off to Denton. Denton dancing around, but he goes nowhere, and he's hit by, I think that's Barney, immediately.
Yeah, it's a 3-yard loss, so it's going to bring up second and about 13. But, boy, ran right into the teeth of the defense, and they'd filled all the gaps and got in the backfield. So,
and Barney did a great job of just beating his man off the block, and Denton had no chance. So second down and a long ways to go here. Look for him to possibly roll Leifson out of this, away from this pressure. Instead, he goes quick. He throws it high, and it's tipped. That's one of those dangerous passes that they threw that time to Burtonshaw.
Yeah, Burtonshaw, it's a little bit high, but somebody's got to help out the quarterback. He's just been under duress all night long. And that ball hit him on the hands, so it's one you have to try to catch, do everything you can. Brings up still long, 3rd and long, but somebody's got to help Leifson, somebody.
Yeah. I'd probably draw up a play that maybe you don't get quite enough yardage, because I'd go for it on 4th down. Try and get your team excited to be in this game, because there is no energy on that Maple Mountain side.
They're going to have it's just going to be a motion penalty on Burtonshaw. He realized he needed to be up on the line for the formation, and then he gets a false start.
So that'll bring up 3rd and 18 here. And
yeah, you're right. Just manage this 4th down, right? Just pick up some of this, make it so it's a manageable 4th down.
And you're going to have to go quick, because Spanish Fork's definitely bringing the pressure on this drive.
Yeah, and you watch it on every play. They're just creeping. They're bringing 6+ on every play.
So 3rd and 19. We'll see if Maple Mountain keeps a guy in here to try and slow down this blitz. Probably see the ball thrown to this near side, as we got 3 receivers here. That's where Leifson looks. He unloads. He gets it to Denton. Denton, did he come up with the catch?
I think he got the first down, and yet Denton is a workhorse on this drive and picks up a huge first down for Maple Mountain.
Yeah, he just ran a quick, skinny post type thing from that slot receiver position.
That is a tough catch.
It looks like he made it. It might have bounced off the ground, but nonetheless, he gets the catch. We couldn't tell.
Well, here on this, on our replay, we can see it might have been bobbled a little bit, but that's a bang play right there. Referees call it a catch, and so Maple Mountain, and the deepest they've got in Spanish Fork territory here at the 40-yard line.
So Leifson rolling out to his right side, throws another pass across the middle, and this one's caught, and it looks like it's fumbled that time, and that was Burtonshaw, who's just having a rough time of hanging onto that ball. They call that incomplete.
So they're going to call it incomplete. He didn't make a football play, so he caught and got hit in the action of the catch. 2nd and 10.
And Burtonshaw is great in coverage, but really just struggling to hang on to that ball, and that's tough. So hopefully he can get a catch here and redeem himself. 2nd and 10. A couple guys in the backfield, probably the block here for Maple Mountain. Spanish Fork bringing the pressure once again. And that one's nearly intercepted. I think that might have been, that's number 9, Gunter, that nearly had the INT that time.
Yeah, and you see him just pounding the ground. He knows, that's one I should have had. And under pressure, Leifson throws a ball that maybe he should have held on to.
Well, Maple Mountain was able to convert on about 3rd and 18 last time. They only need 10 here, but probably in the spot of 4-down territory if they don't get it anyways. Taking a lot of time here, huddling up there. Break the huddle with 12 seconds to go on the play clock. So they're going to have to hurry to get this one off. Leifson gets the snap with plenty of time. A lot of pressure. Has to just throw it away as they were going with the screen to Hoffines, but that one was broken up early on, and I didn't see who got back there, but they got there in a hurry.
He
so
looks
fast
up.
I couldn't see the number.
He looks up and immediately, and honestly, Chris, that is the best result that could have happened from that play. He was under so much pressure. He didn't get an intentional grounding. He didn't take a sack, not an interception. And they're going to reload here, 4th and 10 from the 40-yard line. And this is just, you got to go for it.
And you got to just put just enough hands on somebody to slow him down on that screen. You can't let him go 100% free, or that's the result. 4th and 10 here, Maple Mountain trailing big, hoping to get some points on the board before the half. Leifson rolls out, has a man open. That's Fairborn. Overthrows him just slightly. And that'll be a turnover on downs.
Turnover on downs, but C.J. Fairborn was wide open, and you can't hardly blame this young man here, Leifson. He's been under pressure all night. So, he's going to hear footsteps when he goes to sleep tonight. The pressure that Spanish Fork's put on him. Had an opportunity there and just floated it a little bit too far.
And Fairborn couldn't quite reach out as well, so missed opportunity for Maple Mountain. Spanish Fork coming back. It looks like they still have, trying to see who the quarterback is. They got McKay Smith, the sophomore, back there. They're going to allow him to line up in the shotgun formation. He's got Joshua Buck back there with him. They'll send Buck in motion. And so Smith will get it quickly out to Buck on the pass. Buck's got a lot of running room, and he's got some speed as he's down inside the 35-yard line. Just a straight pass with a 35-yard run after a catch that time by Buck.
Yeah, it's Bentley Smith chasing him down on the outside edge, and has to come over from the linebacker position to catch up to him. But nice design. They put him in motion and swing him into the outside and then immediately throw it to him. Great blocking from the receivers. That's what springs Buck.
Absolutely great blocking. And that play like that doesn't work if your receivers are just trying to see where the running back is. So they do a good job of, you see some of those receivers, they'll block for a second like, hey, how's the play going? That wasn't the case on that play. So they'll line up in the I formation here. Buck dotting the I. They'll hand it off. Nope, play action pass. They fake me out, and they get it out there. To number 7, Ashworth, and he's not able to hang on to it. But great play design that time is every time they've been running in that I formation.
Boy, that left hand, that threw me off for McKay Smith. He throws it left with the pressure in front of him.
He looks like a small Steve Young out there throwing that ball. And he's just a sophomore, and he's 145 pounds. I would be a nervous wreck if I had a sophomore playing quarterback at that height and size. He's teeny, but he's out there battling, and he's filled in a couple of games for Dart. Got that big win against Desert Hills. So they'll hand it off this time. They'll go to Tenny Worthen, I believe, who's able to break a tackle, dance his way down inside the 10. Great blocking that time by the offensive line to have a hole big enough that I probably could have got you 3 yards out of.
Worthen comes up from that up back position. They hand it off to him, and he breaks one tackle, but he'd already had the first down by the time he got hit. Gets it up, so it's going to be 1st and 10 at the looks like they marked it at the 11-yard line, so they can get a first down without scoring. But Chris, I'll be honest with you, Spanish Fork is picking up 10 yards at a time. I don't see them not scoring here without they won't need to get a first down.
Yeah, Smith has been efficient along with Dart here. It doesn't matter who's quarterbacking it, and Smith overthrows it, and we got an INT going the other way.
So he's going the other way, and the only one that can stop him is Smith. Smith has the angle, but he's got blockers out in front of him, Chris.
And great cutback that time, and I think is that 29 for Maple Mountain. That's Peterson that has the INT and gets it down the other edge, and that was just overthrown by Smith that time.
Yeah, Smith throws the interception, and it's just high, and then look at this run back, and you know who it was that got back on that was Worthen.
Yeah, and Smith did just enough to slow down the caravan that time by breaking up the block, and Maple Mountain will trot. Looks like Leifson's trotting back out with the troops for 1st and 10 here, and we'll see if they can capitalize on their second turnover. Last time they just turned it right back over to Spanish Fork.
Well, they ended their last drive right here on the 40-yard line, so they're right back where they left off. And,
Yeah, Denton wasn't even looking for that ball.
Now, and Leifson for the first time tonight had time, so he could have let that play develop. There was good blocking.
But you get that internal clock and kind of that learning of, hey, I got to get that ball out fast. And I think that's kind of what happened in that situation. So that'll bring up 2nd down and 10 here for Leifson. And the Maple Mountain team that's trying to get on the board here before the half. Plenty of time with 2:32 to go. And they'll line up Leifson single. Or there's no backs, actually. No backs. 5 receivers here. Nobody here to help him block. So Spanish Fork only brings 4.
Ooh.
Gets there fast. And
Big hit on Leifson.
Leifson has to unload it before anybody's open.
Yeah, and he didn't have much time there. They brought only 4. So you have 5 blocking 4, and they're still able to get to the quarterback. Leifson took a big hit, and nice show of class. Spanish Fork helps him right back up.
So that'll bring up 3rd and 10. So quick 2 incomplete passes after that INT here. And so, yeah, I think another Maple Mountain's become one-dimensional. They haven't even tried to run the ball here, and they'll unload it quickly. I think that's Hoffines who's able to get the first down downfield. Nope, that's number 25, Jacobson, with the catch that time, picking up a first down.
Yeah, Justin Jacobson, the senior for Maple Mountain, moves the sticks, and this is the deepest Maple Mountain's been on Spanish Fork territory here at the 29-yard line.
Yeah, great little just kind of hitch route, and then Jacobson's able to get a couple yards after that catch to get the first down, and he fought through the end of that play. Once again, nobody in the backfield, so if Maple Mountain or Spanish Fork blitzes, there's nobody to cover, and Leifson has to get rid of it quickly. Ooh. That ball's nearly intercepted.
Yeah, tip ball, and the intended receiver was Denton, but they brought the blitz, and the pressure got there, so Leifson had to get rid of it quickly and just overthrows Denton.
So 2nd down and 10 here, and Maple Mountain's really not completing any passes at a high percentage, but they've just done enough on this drive to pick up some first downs on here. So we'll see if they can get something going here. And for Spanish Fork, just keep bringing that pressure. It has worked. They'll leave 1 in the backfield there, and they'll hand it off to Denton on the sweep, and he's able to get a few yards downfield, 6 or 7 before he's finally brought down.
Boy, that was a nice run, and I like the way they did that. So that by the time Denton got the ball, he was a full head of steam, and he had good blocking downfield and makes it a 3rd and short.
Clock at 1:35 here. That might become an issue. So 3rd and manageable 5. Wouldn't be surprised if they trotted Gomez out on the field just to get some points before the half as well. They're in his field goal range.
So Maple Mountain has all 3 timeouts, Chris. That's something to keep an eye on.
So 3rd down. They get it out to Denton, and they won't need to worry about kicking a field goal as Denton's able to get that first down, and we'll see if they use their first timeout here, and they don't. They'll keep the offense moving fast.
So 1:11 left. Maple Mountain figured out something, some weak spot inside the defense. Leifson has enough time to throw, and so they're going to get that set. The clock is running at 59 seconds left. Leifson looks outside.
Ooh.
Oh, my goodness.
Tunnel screen that looked like it was going to be an INT. Instead, Fairborn climbs up the ladder to make that catch. It's a good thing that kid has a decent vertical jump.
Yeah, Fairborn is a tremendous athlete. He also, when he gets his opportunity, he's averaging 13 yards a catch for Maple Mountain. He leads the team in yard total, or the yards that he gets per reception. If they could just find him more often.
And that broken up play that time, and it looks like,
yeah, they're going to get the Spanish Fork for defensive holding.
So that'll be an automatic first down, I believe, this year. So that'll be enough to move the chains, and Maple Mountain should be inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, Leifson's just they're marking it as a first down, but yeah, it's just a planned run to the corner. So there's that hold call, and sure enough, so first down, they're in business here. Looks like they'll have 1st and goal.
Yep. 24 seconds left, so if you have anything that's in bounds, you got to be cognizant to the fact that you need to call a timeout.
Well, they still have 3. They haven't used any of them, but
Sometimes they forget.
okay. So interesting. They do not give them the first down. 2nd and 3 to go.
So it's half a distance, no first down. They get the ball out there, and it's blocked down, or it's batted at the line again. Didn't see who got it, but that's the 3rd or 4th pass that I can recall has been batted down.
I think it might have been Ty Bona that got that knockdown. He was in the backfield and just disrupted it. I don't think anything positive was going to get happen for the Eagles if it had got past the line of scrimmage anyway. There's good coverage downfield.
So that half a distance to goal penalty not resulting in a first down is kind of it's a big negative, because they still can pick up the first down, but one less opportunity to do so. So Maple Mountain will fake the handoff. Plenty of time this time for Leifson. He rolls out. He's got a guy across the middle, and it hits him in the one spot he can catch it in the hands, and that's unfortunate as Jacobson's not able to come up with it.
And I'll tell you what, Leifson tonight's going to show a really low percentage of catches, but there's been 4 or 5 big drops tonight, too, on the Maple Mountain side.
Yeah, the execution on has been tough on catching some of those passes, and you got to help a quarterback that's struggling like Leifson out. He finally gets enough time, rolls out, and it's tough to throw on the move, and Leifson does a great job of doing that, but just not came up. It wasn't able to come up with it that time, Jacobson. We'll have a timeout here for Maple Mountain.
Well, while we have this timeout, let's take a look at the Spanish Fork 17 sponsors of tonight's game. And, Chris, we can't do it without these guys. So I want to thank all of them that help us bring this game to you tonight. MVP Sports, the MVP of the game, announced at the end of the game, so stick around for that. Lance Wilson, State Farm Insurance. Great assist. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. 2 Jack's Pizza. Triple T, they brought us the keys of the game. Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Clegg Auto, Mikkel Thompson and Hunter, attorneys at law.
Yeah, great sponsors here. Those guys have been, some of them have been with us for quite a few years, so I'd like to thank them for making that, making this broadcast possible. So Maple Mountain will keep the offense trailing by 41 with 16 seconds to go here in the half. So I wouldn't be shocked if they roll Leifson out to try and buy him a little bit more time. They've also tried to do a lot of screen passes. See if they attempt one of those.
Here comes the pressure on 4th down. They've got a man open.
Denton's open, and it's great job that time by this Spanish Fork defender, just knocking that out of Denton's hands.
And I think on coverage was Eli Mauga. You want to correct me on that one?
We'll go with that.
Yeah. Eli with coverage. He's a sophomore for the Dons.
I think it's Eli Malga. His brother Sai's the senior, so awesome experience for those two to be playing together. And I imagine Spanish Fork will line up in the victory formation or probably straight run up the middle to end this half.
Yeah, with 11 seconds left. And the Eagles, the story of tonight's game for the Eagles is just going to be those 5 or 6 plays they wish they could have had back.
And Spanish Fork's offense has been rolling tonight.
You can think of 21 points, I think, that the Eagles would have had. There was the wide open touchdown pass that was dropped. The run back, the kickoff return, and then right here just the throw into the end zone.
And they'll wind that clock. So at the end of the first half here, Spanish Fork leads Maple Mountain 41-0. You're watching high school football on Spanish Fork 17.
Nobody plans on getting in an accident, but if you do, you can rely on the expertise of Mike McKell to protect and fight for your rights. Specializing in personal injury law, Mike McKell is the attorney you need. Call McKell, Thompson & Hunter, 801-798-9000.
Hi, welcome to 2 Jack's Pizza.
For the best pizza you'll ever taste and our world-famous cheese sticks, come to 2 Jack's Pizza on Main Street in Spanish Fork, or call us for a quick delivery. Are you hungry yet?
At Clegg Auto Body, we pay attention to all the finer details, the small things. A lot of people feel like they want their car quick and fast, but it takes time to get perfection. We work for the customer.
And when you're ready for us to start, please give us a thumbs up so we know you are ready. Fans, before our halftime performance tonight, we'd like to take a minute to recognize our seniors on the marching band and color guard. Senior Cole Bailey, parents Benjamin and Emily Croft. Cole enjoys music and cooking after high school, going to Snow College for music major. Cole Bailey. Victoria Bowen, Adam and Kristen Bowen, parents hanging out with friends and playing with my pets after high school before he's going to school to be a pediatric nurse. Miss Butler, her parents Kevin and Diana Butler, raising our band and doing the technical theater and playing games after high school, planning on pursuing stage management. Amelia Carol Hanasek, Charles and Amy Hanasek. Amelia loves color guard and pottery, plans to attend Utah Tech University in St. George after high school. Landon John, with down in the color John. Landon enjoys training and doctor, plans to serve a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, then hopefully go to BYU. Tyler Kitchen, with Rochelle and Stephen Beal. Enjoys playing trombone and enjoys rock climbing. Plans after graduation is to go to Snow College, get my bachelor's degree, and then go to BYU and get my master's. Mila Conso, Mitchell and Regina Conso. Music and being with family and friends. After high school, plans to serve a mission to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Jackson Marsigli, Joshua and Corona Marsigli, for our band, the music. Afterwards, we'll continue music at Snow College and serve a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Mason McNeil, Tyler and Cheryl McNeil. Enjoy showing his dog Annie, hanging out with friends. Plans to go to college to study music. Rachel Oliverson, retired Megan Oliverson. Loves band and great friend. Joseph Giazzola, with Joseph and William Giazzola. Joseph loves music and meeting with friends. Plans to have a great life. Sam Whitaker, David and Sarah Whitaker. Enjoys robotics and music. After graduating, plans to serve a 2-year mission to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and attend BYU. Avery Whitney enjoys reading books and hanging out with friends. Plans to attend USU with a major in early childhood education. Thank you, seniors. And let's hear it one more time for our seniors. And let's see what we're talking about. Now, fans, welcome to the field your five-time region champion Las Colinas drill team. They are coached by Jody Holmes, Leslie Swenson, Belle Olson, Bailey Sanderson, and Charlie Taylor. Their captains are Brighton Bills, Allie March, Roxy Simpson, Gracie Higginson, and Cambry Snow. Tonight, they'll be performing their 2022 camp dance routine. Give it up again for your Las Colinas. for our Spanish Fork cheer team. Tonight they will be performing 1-2 step choreographed by Mandy Shepard as this year's co-captain. Our captain this year is Kate Anderson. Our other seniors include Avery Huntington, Cindy Starkey, Kelly Clark, Olivia Buffer, and Tasha Neverford. The team is coached by Holly Hunter, Grace Foley, Kendall Clare, and Carter Marziel. Welcome to the field for Spanish Fork cheerleaders.
Hi, welcome to Two Jacks Pizza.
For the best pizza you'll ever taste and our world-famous cheese sticks, come to Two Jacks Pizza on Main Street in Spanish Fork or call us for a quick delivery. Are you hungry yet?
If you're looking for a workout, you know MVP Sports is the place to start, and that includes pickleball. MVP Sports has all you need to get active in this growing sport. Paddles, shoes, clothing, and the pickleballs. MVP Sports in Spanish Fork.
The best time to check your furnace is before it fails, and you can rely on Triple T to do the job right. Our technicians are trained every year so you can sleep better at night, knowing your furnace is safe to operate. Call Triple T at 798-7711 to schedule your tune-up today.
At Clegg Auto Body, we pay attention to all the finer details, the small things. You know, a lot of people feel like they want their car quick and fast, but it takes time to get perfection. We work for the customer.
Nobody plans on getting in an accident, but if you do, you can rely on the expertise of Mike McKell to protect and fight for your rights. Specializing in personal injury law, Mike McKell is the attorney you need. Call McKell, Thompson & Hunter, 801-798-9000.
Jake from State Farm. I would like to formally extend my gratitude for the Russell rate.
There's no special rate. These prices are for everyone.
Consider us square. I made that from memory.
If you want the real deal, contact State Farm agent Lance Wilson today.
And we are back with the Spanish Fork Dons leading the Maple Mountain Golden Eagles 41-0. So we'll have that running clock here in the first half. And so, Mark, what did you see from both teams in that first half?
Well, Chris, this is just a really interesting 41-0 game because Maple Mountain left 21 points on the board. And if they had scored any of those, it might have slowed down Spanish Fork a little bit. Made them think differently about the game plan. So Maple Mountain's going to go back to the film room, and maybe at halftime they're just going to say, hey, this is a game of missed opportunities, and let's clean that up. Seize those opportunities when they come and capitalize. Let's catch those balls, even if they're a little out of the target zone. We got to help Leeson out. So on the Maple Mountain side, the 41-0, that doesn't tell the whole story. Although, at the end of the day, it's just the scoreboard. Now on the Spanish Fork side, they have really been able to dictate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. And, really, they've had their ears pinned back all night long, just making it miserable for Leeson and his receiving core all night long. Let's see what the adjustments are here at halftime. But you're right, that running clock's going to be a factor. And I think both teams are going to try to come out of here with positives, in the second half.
And they really didn't even warm up. They just kind of are getting out of it. Let's try and get this game over with. Usually we go over RPI and some other scores, but we'll just mention that the other region game that's going on. Springville is beating Salem Hills 42-0. And then also another game of note is Lehigh is leading Timpview 7-6 in probably the two heavyweights of the 5A classification going at it tonight. So a lot of other great games going on. Spanish Fork will tee it up here.
Yeah, Chris, that Lehigh team is an amazing team to watch. I got a chance to see them play in the state championship game last year against Springville, and they do a lot of things really well. So
Carter Jones does his job. He boots it into the end zone. We have a personal foul, I think, at the end of that play.
Yeah.
It's always interesting. He kicks it out of the end zone, but 13 seconds ran off. I'm like, whoa, they started the clock. And then I have to remember that they start the clock as soon as the player is ready to kick it off.
So flag on the field, and on these rivalry games, you do sometimes see this chippiness happen, and they haven't done anything with it yet. A lot of conversation there at the 20-yard line, so let's see what they decide to do with this call.
Yeah, it looks like it could be offsetting penalties. I honestly didn't see what happened. I just saw the flag on the ground. Is that a sideline warning? Well, I'm not sure what that means when you put your hand behind your back.
I guess we're going to have to look up the high school rule book and see what that call was. Regardless, what the call is 15 yards, so Maple Mountain's going to start the second half with better field position than they had nearly,
Oh, my goodness. And Hoffines takes the carry in the backfield there, gets hit in it. Well, there's another penalty. Maple Mountain's probably moving up, but Fioli just
get another 15 yards here.
Met Hoffines right in the backfield that time, and it's personal foul.
So they called that on the face mask, but boy, he got rocked as soon as he got the ball. So
Hoffines is like, you've got to help me block a little bit, but that just talks to how well Spanish Fork's defensive line is able to get into Maple Mountain's backfield, and that's been the case the whole night long, and that's really been the difference on why Maple Mountain, as you mentioned earlier, probably doesn't have 21 points, is they haven't had time to execute. So Leifson in the backfield along with Hoffines. Leifson will roll out, gets this one out, and just out of the reach that time of Denton.
Rolling to his left, and he's been a little bit off target all night just with all the pressure he's been underneath, and on this one, rolling to the left, that is a really hard throw to make. I mean, it takes a lot of talent to make that happen, and he just let him just a little bit too much.
Yeah, and Spanish Fork has really programmed Leifson to know if he doesn't get rid of that within the first couple of seconds, he's getting hit. So I think that's really sped up the play clock, where I think he could have maybe held that ball for a second, but nonetheless it brings up 2nd and 10. Leifson dropping back, sets up the screen, and Hoffines is able to get back near the original line of scrimmage, maybe 1 yard, but really that screen pass, Spanish Fork's linebackers have done a great job of sniffing that out all night long.
They see it coming, and, you know, when they get that clean release, so the defensive linemen are just running back there without being blocked, that's when the linebacker's cue is, okay, here it comes, now I need to stay home, so that when that ball comes out, I'm ready to make the tackle.
Yeah, the other thing is the line probably needs to put a hat on that linebacker and prevent him from getting into coverage. But 3rd and 9 here, we've seen Maple Mountain convert a couple of 3rd and longs. Spanish Fort brings the house. They unload it, and Leifson got rocked that time.
He just has not had a chance all night long.
I think that time that was Worthen that got in the backfield to hit him. From the safety spot.
Just a clean release. He comes in unblocked and hits Leifson, and no chance for a completion. He just was lucky to get rid of that ball before he got sacked.
So Spanish Fork will drop back Vest. They'll also drop back Tenny Worthen. So Gomez, who has had a lot more playing time from his punter position than he wanted, will drop back to punt. And Spanish Fork, I believe, has had 1 turnover or scored on every drive. Low snap, Gomez able to get it away, and great job by, I want to say Gunter, but it's not. It's number 8, Worthen, that's able to break a couple of tackles and get downfield.
A lot of dancing, but right away you saw the flag come out. It's just going to come right back, and you're going to see the block right. Boy.
That was a mystery flag.
Phantom, unless I didn't see something, but I thought that block in the back. But, you know, really honestly, the Spanish Fort guy just went down. So if they were wise, they'll wave it off. Let's see what happens.
That was pretty clean from our replay. Maybe the official saw something that didn't show up on camera. No, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt while being passive-aggressive at the same time.
Yeah, right. They're walking it back. So it's going to be personal foul. Blow to the head, huh? Okay. Well, we're not messing around with that. So if they saw something, then.
So that'll be a 15-yarder, and it's from the spot of the foul, so they'll probably go half a distance. Nope, they're going to. Yes, they'll mark it off about 12-yard penalty. So instead of at the 40, that's a killer, because Spanish Fork will start off at their own 12. Spanish Fork, number 7 in the RPI, plays Woods Cross next week at number 9. What's on the line there, you might ask? Top 8. They get a bye, and then I believe they get a home game in that second round. So this is huge for Spanish Fork to win this game and hope that Maple Mountain's record doesn't drop them.
Yeah, they're going to go for style points with as many points as they can possibly put on the board, but you're right. The ranking of the team you face does affect that RPI.
So they'll hand it off to Buck, and he gets around the edge and starts right off where he left off. That makes any sense, and gets 15 yards.
he got back what they gave up. So you look at the Spanish Fork side, coming out of the half, they did a lot of things well. Over 300 yards in total offense. Obviously 41-0. But some things they could clean up. There's 2 turnovers there. Those are things that you can't do when the competition stiffens up, and it's going to start next week with the big game. So
McKay Smith still in at quarterback. He'll hand it off once again. This time it's Vest with the carry, and he's able to get a whole head of steam and get 3 or 4 yards. So, yeah, pretty good blocking that time, and Vest got a lot more than I gave him credit for. He ends up picking up 6. So that'll bring up second down here for Spanish Fork, and I imagine we've almost ran off 5 minutes of clock here, and with that rolling clock, this game's going to go fast. So, and the right guard that time for Spanish Fork jumps offside, so that'll stop the clock.
Yeah, penalties are going to be something they want to clean up too as they go into this the last game of their season, then heading into the playoffs. You can't have these kinds of mistakes, and these are the dumb ones,
Yeah.
When you're forgetting the snap count, you're twitching, whatever the case might be. These are the ones that when things tighten up and you start facing, stiffer competition, you definitely need to have that cleaned up. So
they'll let Smith throw. He throws a little high that time. Looks like it was catchable. Who?
Looked
Number
like it was-
sideways. Oh, that's Ty Bona
Yeah.
out there on the edge.
Yep, the senior. And like you say, when it hits you in the hands, you got to bring it in.
Brings up 3rd and 7. This Spanish Forks picked up 3rd and 22. We'll see if they can pick this one up, and if not, this would be the first punt.
Yeah, they had some big plays. They had the 50-yard pass play. They had the 3rd and 24 pass play. So they definitely can pick it up in chunks.
And it goes out to Munga, who's able to make the catch. Munga down the sideline.
And look at
down
that
to the
speed.
40, 30.
Oh, he stepped on the
out of
line
bounds.
about the 38-yard line. So,
But really good pass here by Smith as he's able to unload that quickly and get it to Munga. And his parents are down in front of us holding up signs. How awesome is that?
So Munga with the 38-yard reception. And I don't know. He had a few more yards to get there. He was breaking away on that edge. So
I was watching the replay, and that was close, but the official was down there, so he must have tapped the line there. So
yeah, he doesn't have the benefit of a 4K replay like we do, though.
That's correct, yeah. Subscribe to it.
It's got to be better than 4K. What,
I don't know how K works, but McKay threads the needle there, and it's incomplete.
We'll call our replay the Special K replay. High definition.
High definition Special K replay. Remember to subscribe to that Spanish Fork cable and internet. There you go. There's our plug for you, Pete, in the truck. All right, 2nd down and 10 to go here. They're letting Smith throw it a little bit on this drive, and I think that's valuable experience for the sophomore. He's probably the future of this Spanish Fork team over the next year or two. Great pass out that time. Just gets a few yards out to Ryan Olson.
Bring up about 3rd and 7. And it throws me off every time somebody with a left hand throws.
Yeah.
It looks like I'm looking in a backwards mirror.
Well, and I shouldn't say that he's the future because Will Dart's just a junior as well. But those guys, Spanish Fork's got a lot of talent at the quarterback position as they start to get a little more maturity. 3rd and 7. Smith back to pass, plenty of time. Throws it just short of the first down.
Ooh, he
fighting
might have
for
got it on the second effort.
Yeah, fighting for it there. Looks like he got it. I thought that was Worthen. I want to make sure. And he does get it.
It's Will Gunter on the
Gunter.
catch. And Gunter.
It's the old 8 and 9 messes me up.
Yeah, well, that red on gray is not exactly, I'm having a hard time all night, especially on the numbers that are close like the 8s and the 9s. So.
Well, and you add that pink, it's a good look, but it's hard for us up here. And I've given up on the binoculars for the night. So nonetheless, it's 1st and 10. They'll send a man in motion. They'll hand it off to Vest. He has a running lane, and he's going to score. No.
Oh, boy. Burton shot with the touchdown-saving tackle. The captain for Maple Mountain, and just gets him by his ankles right as he's going towards the goal line.
Looks like we've got an injury down there, and it is a defensive lineman. It's 51 that's down for Maple Mountain. Hopefully.
That's Gabe Rockwood, the junior for Maple Mountain. And kind of the way they're working on it.
Might be a cramp,
Yeah,
hopefully.
kind of. Hopefully that's what we can hope for. Well, we've got that. Let's bring up the sponsors for tonight's game. And, first, the unsung hero for Spanish Fork 17. Pete's down in the booth. Thanks, Pete, for all you do for us up here. And thanks to our sponsors, Lance Wilson, State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. MVP Sports, they bring us the MVP of the game, announced at the end of the game, so stick around for that. Two Jacks Pizza, Triple T Keys to the Game, brought to you by Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Clegg's Auto, Mikkel Thompson and Hunter, Attorneys at Law. Great defensive play makes a great offense.
Yeah, great sponsors there. And next week, Woods Cross, Spanish Fork. We saw him last year on this network, and Spanish Fork was able to easily beat Woods Cross. But that's not the same Woods Cross team because they've had 2 years with that. I forget the gentleman's name that's coaching Woods Cross, but they like to mix in a lot of that old-fashioned triple option. So that's going to be a challenge for Spanish Fork.
Yeah,
and they got a short week.
When you play that triple option offense, it's just assignment football. You have to stay home on your assignment. And then if you miss, that's where they break those big plays on you. So the injured player is going to get helped off the field. He can't put much, looks like it might be an ankle as he gets helped off. But now Spanish Fork in business here on a 1st and goal on the 2-yard line.
And Vest will dot the I here with Smith at quarterback.
Yeah, that's going to be a flinch. Oh, boy. You know, it's
the right guard again. Well, it seems like Spanish Fork never wants to score from the 2. They get down there and there's a penalty.
Yeah,
I mean, huge if you're playing a team that is good at the goal line defense. So you mentioned penalties have been a killer. That's something Spanish Fork's got to clean up. Maple Mountain, they're the 29th place in the RPI, so next week will be critical at Mountain Crest if they want to even make the playoffs. But they'll give it to Faiuli, who's able to spin around for about a yard.
Boy, they never did get him down, and that young man has a lot of fight in him. You know, that up back handoff, and
he's got great hair too. Troy Polamalu type hair going on. But Fiola,
he's on the all-hair, first-team all-hair in state, right?
He's got my vote.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah, great run there by Clay. Brings up 2nd and goal, and that clock just keeps running. We're at almost 2:30 to go here in the 3rd quarter. I formation, and Spanish Fork's had a lot of success. Watch for him to hand it off to Vest this time. No, they'll give it to the senior Faiuli. And Clay's able to bulldoze his way, and he's able to get in for a 4-yard touchdown run there for the Dons, who go up 47-0. And just Smith falls down handing it off there on the replay. But as you mentioned, Clay Fiola is very difficult to bring down, and that time he's able to get 6 with the kick here. And I make sure that's Jones back there to kick. And they still have Carter Jones in here for the PAT.
Yep, so Spanish Fork picks off right where they left off, scoring at will. They started that after the penalty on their own 12-yard line, get it all the way down, and Faiuli punches it in with the 3-yard touchdown, and now it's 48-0. And it just it's working tonight for Spanish Fork.
Yeah, and they've had a lot of success not only through the air but on the ground as well. So they've had kind of that balanced attack that's been just unstoppable tonight, other than a couple of turnovers.
So as they line up to kick, you know, Maple Mountain, this is where you just, as a coaching staff, it's one of the more challenging things. How do you build something positive out of this game? And we've seen some flashes, you know. Maple Mountain's done some good things. And, you know, drop balls, story of tonight's game. Let's see if Leifson can get some more time and, you know, get some things clicking as they build towards their final game of the season.
Yeah, and if you're Maple Mountain, you're playing to not get shut out by your rival. You got to dig deep, have some pride, see if you can't get some points on the board. Obviously, this game's not winnable at this point, but you at least can have a moral victory here and win this 4th quarter, or at least get some points on the board before the end of the game.
So the lonesome kicker kicks it out of the back of the end zone, and Maple Mountain will start at their own 20.
Yeah, and Maple Mountain really just has had a couple of plays here, but I think the key on this side of the ball has been Spanish Fork's ability to put pressure on Leifson, and Maple Mountain's pretty much abandoned the run. So Spanish Fork's just pinning back their ears and blitzing.
You know, Spanish Fork has scored on, you know, they had the 1 turnover, or the 2 turnovers. The one was in the end zone. Then they had the fumble, but they got it right back on the very next play. But besides that, they've scored a touchdown on every possession that they've had.
And Maple Mountain goes the wrong way on 1st down there.
Yep, and right in the back, field is number 47, Clay Faiuli, and he
possibly making a push to be our MVP Sports MVP player of the game. I don't know. It's your call tonight.
Boy.
And we're excited to have Mark here with us. Mark is filling in for Ryan, and Maple Mountain gets a
look at
big
this.
screen play out to the edge, and that's
Big
Denton, and
block.
he's got some room to run, and he rumbles down near midfield. So,
You know, I almost feel like we have to give it to Clay because I've butchered his name so bad.
and he's been great all season long as well. It would be well deserved, but what a great run by Denton! Is he's still out there trucking for the Golden Eagles. So 1st and 10 here. This clock, probably one more play with this running clock here for the Golden Eagles. And they get it out to Denton again, this time out on the on that little slant route, and that'll end our 3rd quarter. So at the end of 3, the Dons are 48, the Golden Eagles are 0. You're watching high school football on Spanish Fork 17.
If you're looking for a workout, you know MVP Sports is the place to start, and that includes pickleball. MVP Sports has all you need to get active in this growing sport. Paddles, shoes, clothing, and the pickleballs. MVP Sports in Spanish Fork.
The best time to check your furnace is before it fails, and you can rely on Triple T to do the job right. Our technicians are trained every year so you can sleep better at night, knowing your furnace is safe to operate. Call Triple T at 798-7711 to schedule your tune-up today.
Jake from State Farm. I would like to formally extend my gratitude for the Russell rate.
There's no special rate. These prices are for everyone.
Consider us square. I made that from memory.
If you want the real deal, contact State Farm agent Lance Wilson today.
All right, we're here at Spanish Fork High School where the Dons are taking on the Golden Eagles. We're here at the start of the 4th, and it has been all Spanish Fork as we've got a 48-0 game, and they've already started the clock without Maple Mountain on the field. They got 15 seconds to get a playoff. Refs want to go home and get some food in them, I guess.
Well, you know, Maple Mountain just punched it across the 50-yard line, so let's see what they can do. Here comes the blitz, and Leeson sees it coming and just misses the mark. It goes out to C.J. Fairborn, who's not able to bring it in.
Yeah, and Fairborn that time running that little I can't even remember what the name of it is, that little loop route that time, and just, it was low. Even if he catches it, he's going to lose yards. You got to get that ball up a little bit higher, but for Maple Mountain, you're playing for pride. You got to get some points on the board in this drive. And next week, they're up at Mountain Crest, and they got some ground to make up if they want to get in the top 24. It doesn't look like Maple Mountain's going to, and if that's the case, they got an opportunity to win their last game of the season next week.
Go out on a high note. They bookend
right.
their season with wins and wins. We'll see what happens. And we promised to keep you guys updated there at home on a developing situation to see if the Lonesome Kicker would trend on Google. At least one of us Googled it, and I think you have the lyrics pulled up here, Chris.
I did pull up the lyrics and just wanted to point out that if you need a lonesome kicker, the extra points field goals are at your service. So thanks, Adam Sandler, for that quote of the night. But back to action. Maple Mountain's going to go for it on 4th down. 4th and about 4 to go. Very manageable. Spanish Fork bringing the pressure once again. Leifson gets rid of it and incomplete once again, and Spanish Fork will take over on downs.
I think Jacobson had a chance at it. It just... again, they brought the pressure, and they've done it all night, especially on these critical downs. And they brought the house in this case, and Leeson just couldn't connect.
And I was looking out at some of those new numbers out there in Spanish Fork, just getting the opportunity to put some guys in there that don't get as much playing time, which is fantastic. So that is the benefit of having a blowout. Although I thought Spanish Fork would win. I thought it'd be a lot closer than this.
Yeah, again, we go back to those miscues, Chris, and you know, the score doesn't tell the whole story, but you know, it's enough. But yeah, Maple Mountain, if they connect on those miscues, it is a whole different game. But Spanish Fork running away with it.
Yeah, Ashworth that time on the end around gets a couple of yards. They're allowing the 6'3" tight end to become a running back on that play. Everybody's getting in on the
Everybody's
action.
eating tonight on Spanish Fork. So You know, Gabe's sitting back there going, no, I can't wait. I can't wait. You know.
Brought down, though, after a minimal gain. And this Spanish Fork team, first time I saw them was against Desert Hills, and they've come a long ways this season. You've definitely seen a lot of progression, and they're starting to get the offense involved, where they've always had a great defense this season.
Boy, great defensive play by Maple Mountain. And look at that swarm defense.
Somebody lost a shoe out there.
Yep, you see a green sock and no shoe in the
Tenny Worthen.
Worthen
got flat tired that time, and that's will bring up third in a while. He's got good looking socks though. We'll give Tenny Worthen a State Farm assist out there for having great socks, great assist out there.
Yeah, I think he didn't get the right memo though. You know, on breast cancer awareness, he reached in for the brightest socks he had, and they came out green. You know,
wash them with the pink. I wonder who wins that battle in the washing machine. All right. 3rd down and 9 to go here. Smith, they're going to allow him to pass it. He sets up throws it to the screen, and it's well covered. But Vest is able to sneak out a few yards and get into midfield. Brings up 4th and 5.
4th down, yeah. One of the rare 4th downs. In fact, the only 4th down that Spanish Fork has faced all night. And they're bringing out the kicking team.
Yeah, 7:30 to go. There's no reason to try and run up the score here. Allow Maple Mountain to get another drive in. I think this is the right call. These two coaches will probably have to face off again next year. And Burtonshaw's been the only coach Maple Mountain's had. So is that Carter Jones back there to punt.
Gets a high punt and a nice Spanish Fork bounce, and they down it at the 20. I thought there was more yards to give there, and in fact, you saw right there Kyle Topham saying, hey, Micah, let that thing roll. You know, there's no sense in us stopping that ball right there. But Micah, the junior for the Dons.
And so, yeah, at the 21, Maple Mountain will take over. 1st and 10. Running out of chances here to score with this running clock. Yeah, there's 6:49 on the clock, but that's pretty much 6:49 of real time minus any stoppages for injuries or change of possession. They'll send Denton around on the end around. He's got the ball. He's able to cut back and get a few more yards and end up getting near the 1st down marker. Now both teams getting a little chippy.
And we got a Spanish Fork Don down on the field. So there's your clock stoppage. I don't see which player's down.
Yeah, surrounded by Maple Mountain trainers. Looks.
And this is the part of the game, too, where you've got.
And it's. Yeah, it's a. Looks like they might be. I'm trying to get a number here, but unable to do so at the moment. So hopefully he gets back up. But while we wait, let's take a look at our sponsors again. We got MVP Sports, Lance Wilson State Farm Insurance, 2 Jack Pizza, Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, Clegg Auto, and Mikkel Thompson Hunter Attorneys at Law. So we'd like to thank these sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Also, remember to check out all of our broadcasts, community events, sporting events on youtube.com/Spanish Fork 17. A lot of great content on there. So go check that channel out and really become part of this community. And then next week, the battle between the Wildcats and the Dons up at Woods Cross. We'll bring that live to you so you don't have to make that crazy drive up on I-15. We'll do it for you. So check that out. Remember, it's on Wednesday because of the fall break. So we'll bring you that fall break, and then you can enjoy a long weekend with your family. At least that's my plan.
Players still down on the field, but right now both teams are just thinking, how do we get through the end of this game without anyone getting seriously hurt? So,
and the looks, yeah. Let's take a look at the region standings while we wait. So at the top, we saw a really physical game between Springville and Spanish Fork. Really decided the region is Springville was up 42-0 on Salem Hills at last count. So they'll most likely go out 5-0 in region play. Spanish Fork will go to 4-1. Maple Mountain will drop to 0-5 there. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But pretty interesting matchup tomorrow night. Provo and Wasatch 2-2 to kind of decide, how the region ends up, who ends up being third place there. And so I think that'll be an exciting one. If you want to go over to Provo, you can check that one out live.
Yeah, and the Bulldogs are a tough team. They play smash mouth football, and they gave both Springville and Spanish Fork, a tough game. So
I think that was a 17-14 game that we had with Provo here, and that was a rock fight mixed in with a fist fight. It was a battle. I went home sore.
Both teams came out and scored touchdowns on their opening possessions on that game, and then the fight began.
Yes, absolutely.
Just battling back and forth. And Spanish Fork, beneficiaries of the home field on that one, probably was the difference.
Yeah, it was. And that could have been the difference. And unfortunately, that's number 23, Austin Weeks, the junior that's being helped off, and he looks like he's in a little bit of pain there, and hopefully he's all right.
Yeah, not able to put any weight on that left leg, so our thoughts and prayers go out to that young man as he's getting helped off the field.
And that's, I think, is that 23 or 33? No, it's 23.
Yeah, it's Austin Weeks. Yep. You see Tenny Worthen coming out to help him out. So a lot of concern from his teammates as he's helped off the field.
Yeah, and it's never a walk you like to see. So, all right. Nonetheless, Maple Mountain picked up the first down. We'll get that clock started here in a minute, or momentarily, I should say. And Maple Mountain looking to avoid a shutout here.
I've got 6 minutes to fix that issue tonight. So,
Layson, plenty of time to pass here. Throws it deep. He's got Fairborn. Just over his outstretched arms that time, and that looked like that was the one. I thought that was going to be 6. And there's been 3 or 4 plays that have been close.
Yep. Leifson's missed a couple. And then his receivers on the few times that he's got them right in their hands, they've dropped it a few times. So there was an opportunity for 6 right there. Certainly Fairborn had the step. He had 2 yards on him, and the ball was just overthrown.
That brings up 2nd and 10 here. Leifson had a little bit more time to operate and does on this play as well. Able to get it out to Denton, and that one's just out of the outstretched arms of Denton there as I start to stutter, but brings up 3rd down.
Yeah, Denton's been a bright spot for the Eagles tonight. He just couldn't get to that ball. Low and away, and he did his best to get to it, just missed it. So 3rd and 10, let's see what the Eagles have in store for us.
And they're getting a little bit better protection for Leifson. That one was just off the mark, but to Leifson's defense, he's been beat up a little bit tonight. He's been hit multiple times. He's been able to avoid sacks for the most part, which Spanish Fork does a good job of getting after the quarterback, but Leifson with plenty of time here rolls out. He's got somebody short. He decides to keep it himself, and he's going to pick up the first down and a few extra yards. See if finally he gets out of bounds near the 45, 46-yard line.
So mark him down to the 47, and that was a nice choice by Leifson. He rolled out, and he had an opportunity to throw it short, but he just tucked it. And as soon as he tucked it, his receivers looked upfield and started making blocks. Good play by the Eagles, and, just the team working together, seeing what Leifson's decision was, receivers looking upfield for those blocks.
Yeah, and Leifson there is able to roll out and get was able to get that first down. And so we'll see if they can build on that momentum from that last play. Sometimes once a quarterback makes a run, he starts to get in a little bit better cadence.
Just has that confidence. That play worked. Now the next one's going to.
They throw it back this time. They get it to
look
Nick
at the
Hoffine.
room that he
He's got
has.
a lead blocker and plenty of room, and he's down inside the 25. Pickup of about 28 yards that time for the Golden Eagles.
So down at the 24-yard line. Nice play call. Everything's going to the right, and then it's throwback left. And look at the lead block coming down the field, and Hoffines does the rest.
Yeah, finally brought out of bounds that time by number 5. That's Grant Bureau, the senior for Spanish Fork, getting in on the action.
So 3:30 left here in the ball game. Maple Mountain very close to the red zone.
And those handed off to Denton around the edge. We've seen him have quite a bit of success, but that time it is brought down, and that's number 20 for the Dons, I believe.
Is that Nate Beck or was it 29? I can't tell if it was Trenton Spencer or Nate Beck. It was one of those two for sure.
Either way, a great defensive play there by the Dons, and they've had a lot of them tonight.
You see Denton do that little juke in left, and you think, oh, he's going to break this one. But just a great open field tackle.
So 2nd and 12 here for the Golden Eagles. Driving here, trying to avoid the shutout here. And Leifson has a guy open, and he kind of stumbled on that at the end of that reception, and that's C.J. Fairborn. And Fairborn and Leifson just cannot get on the same page.
Boy, Leifson had a really good pocket presence there. There was pressure all over, and he steps up, steps to the right, and gets that ball out. Just couldn't connect.
So that'll bring up 3rd and 12 here. I imagine if Spanish Fork gets the ball back, they'll probably just get in the victory formation. This could be our last possession of the game. Leifson's got split backs in the shotgun formation. Low snap, handles it, and that is batted away that time. I want to say that was 53, but I'm not doing well on numbers.
Yeah, as our eyes get tired here towards the end of the game, could have been Cale Cabreros.
I think that's who it was. And I saw him check into this ball game, and great to see him playing as well tonight for the Dons. He's just a sophomore. So that brings up 4th and 12. We're under 1:25 to go here. This one's winding down. And this has been the most lopsided Maple Mountain Spanish Fork game I've seen. Leifson unloads it quickly, and we got the pass interference at the tail end of it, even though I think that ball was probably uncatchable.
Yeah, it was over his head, but the flag's on the field. Let's see what happened. And Leifson took one more shot there with the blitz and the pressure from Spanish Fork. They've dialed it up all night on these critical downs. So.
And Maple Mountain's got some good youth teams coming up, so I imagine they'll bounce back. But it is going to be pass interference on the Dons there, and so
they'll get 1 minute left, and depending on how they want to play this, try to break up the shutout right now. And you know Spanish Fork is playing for pride right now. They want to have a big score and a shutout on their resume, especially with those RPI rankings.
Yeah, Spanish Fork's also trying to get that shutout, so we'll have to see what happens here.
Here comes the blitz again.
They hand it off to Denton. Oh, it looked like it was a handoff. Instead, it's picked off.
Yeah, got a pick off, and that's how they're going to end it. And it's going to be number 5, Grant Burrell, with the pickoff. And on senior night, the 5'11" senior for the Dons seals the game with that. The game was sealed a long time ago, but it finishes the game.
He puts the final nail in the coffin, and at 130 pounds, makes a great play. And this Spanish Fork team has a lot to celebrate. And Maple Mountain, they got one more game ahead of them, so they got to keep their heads up and just try and get better between now and next Wednesday.
Well, I don't know about you, but this was my favorite formation in all of sports, the victory formation. So,
well, it depends on what team you were on and who you're cheering for. But
if you're a Dons fan, then this is one of those sights that you long for. And nope, they're not gonna. They're gonna be lined up in the pistol.
And allow Smith to. He's got to run one more play here, and they'll hand it off. And I didn't see who they handed off to. He broke away from the tackle after they called it dead, and that's how we'll end it here. So Spanish Fork with a 48-0 win here over Maple Mountain. We'll take a break, and then we'll come and we'll wrap this one up for you. So Spanish Fork beats Maple Mountain 48-0 here on Spanish Fork 17.
Nobody plans on getting in an accident, but if you do, you can rely on the expertise of Mike McKell to protect and fight for your rights. Specializing in personal injury law, Mike McKell is the attorney you need. Call McKell, Thompson, and Hunter, 801-798-9000.
Hi, welcome to Two Jacks Pizza.
For the best pizza you'll ever taste and our world-famous cheese sticks, come to Two Jacks Pizza on Main Street in Spanish Fork, or call us for a quick delivery. Are you hungry yet?
At Clegg Auto Body, we pay attention to all the finer details, the small things. You know, a lot of people feel like they want their car quick and fast, but it takes time to get perfection. We work for the customer.
And we are back here as Spanish Fork beat the Maple Mountain Golden Eagles 48-0. Really dominated from start to finish, only had to punt once. And really just another battle here between these two teams that all the breaks went Spanish Fork's way.
They did, and they only scored the one touchdown in the second half, but when they were pressing, they scored on every possession they had. So 48-0, dominating game for them. And the offense, more importantly, as they head towards the playoffs, is starting to click on all cylinders. And I don't want to call it the most important game of the season, but, for playoff seeding and that first round bye, this next game is the big one. And you'll be there, and you guys can too, if you'll look it up on YouTube.com/SpanishFork17. You can catch that. And remember, it is on Wednesday night due to fall break. So what a pleasure to be here with you tonight, Chris. And let's talk about the MVP Sports MVP of the game. And
probably a few guys we could have went with. Joshua Buck had a big night. He had a couple of touchdown runs. Ashworth had a big night.
Bona had that big 50-yard TD pass. But you know what? It was the guy, the up back. We're going to give it to, and it doesn't matter what I call you so long as I call you the MVP. Clay, I'm going to mess your last name up, but we're going to call you Clay Feleui, and you are the MVP Sports, MVP of the game. And you know what? They can't ever take that away from you.
They can't, and really, he represented a defensive line that was dominant tonight. He played both sides of the ball, was able to fill in for Tubby Rapena excellently. So I think at the end of the day, he really deserved it. And that Spanish Fork defensive line was dominant tonight, and you could have named any one of those guys the MVP player of the game.
Yeah, and Clay caps off the scoring with that 3-yard TD run in the second half. So, Clay, congratulations. And, my plug for MVP Sports, that is a fantastic establishment. Check them out in Spanish Fork on Main Street. Thanks to all the rest of our sponsors. Lance Wilson at State Farm Insurance, Two Jacks Pizza, Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, Clegg Auto, McKell Thompson, and Hunter, attorneys at law. And, hey, bring me back anytime you want, Chris.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'd like to thank Mark Mason for filling in for Ryan tonight. He's been excellent. It's been a pleasure. So for all of you out there, we're going to wrap this one up. Spanish Fork beats Maple Mountain 48-0. You've been watching High School Sports on Spanish Fork 17.